Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Oh, there we go. Welcome back to the MechWarrior Online Championship Series. This is the second to last weekend. We've got the lower bracket finals for you today. I hope you are ready for some very competitive matches while we sort out who is going to be going up against JGX for the grand finals next weekend. Joining me today, once again, is One Last Bite. How you doing, One Last?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited. These should be some super close games. I'm really interested to see, because these teams have been playing so many matches to get to this point, how they change their strategies.
No, absolutely. And also Dadachi as well. Dadachi, how you doing?
It's 3:49 in the morning. I'm doing good.
All right, so we have everybody in the lobby here. We're just going to go ahead and really look to get started with the map ban. Let's see if we can get these matches going for you. We will talk about the form. Actually, we want to talk about the format first. I think we can talk about the format first very quickly. So just for those who haven't seen the format before, here are the rules. So it is best of 5 in 8v8. So while we do have an overloaded lobby here at the moment, it's just the teams are posturing themselves a little bit, which is totally fine. There are 5 maps in the pool. One last, can you take us through those maps?
Yeah, so we have Rubalite Oasis, Mining Collective, Vernal Rift, Tourmaline Desert, and Frozen City. I think the most popular ones have definitely been Mining Collective. I want to say Tourmaline's been played a lot, and I don't know, I guess Rubalite or Hibernal, those have both been decent picks. We haven't seen that much Frozen City, but today, since we're in the top 8, obviously we'll be doing that best of 5 series, so the teams will have to pick all the maps, no bans. So we might see Frozen City regardless of whether they want to play it or not.
Absolutely. So all weapons and tech may be used, so there's no lock-on bans or anything like that. You can use all strikes. All mechs may be used. That includes hero mechs, gold mechs, founders mechs, Phoenix, Project Phoenix, Sarah's Jenner, etc., etc.
I don't mean to say that what happened wasn't traumatic, but being
What
a
the heck?
teenage
I'm getting
girl,
some kind of...
that
Oh,
was
you know what it
the
is?
thing happened.
I just got an ad on the actual stream here. Wow, that was unexpected. I was like, why am I getting this extra sound from it? It's the ad that's playing on the MWO League's channel. Sorry about that, folks. That's you probably noticed by a little confused, like, what the heck is going on? That's what that is. So yeah, all mechs may be used, and they can have up to 3 mechs per class, and no duplicates. However, things like Jenner and Jenner 2C, or Highlander and Highlander 2C, those are separate mechs, so you can see those in a single drop. So with that, let's take us over to the map ban, and let's see what we're doing. So first up is It's the Wild Ones versus Not Dropship 5, or like we have seen in the team lobby here, 228 versus 228. with being casted by 228.
Yeah, I think the only team left that doesn't have 228 members is RJF.
Yeah, well, between RJF and actually no, JGX has Jiffy, so
Yeah, I mean they're trying to hide it. They try to change his tag. We know.
but he's really 228. He's never gonna leave us, ever.
All right, and boom, called it. Wild Ones immediately picked Rubalite.
Not Dropship 5, following up by a Hibernal pick, trying to get the retina burn out early, I think is what they're trying to do.
I think they've played that map decently well. Like, I don't know if they've lost a drop on it. They might have dropped one or had a close round, but they've done pretty well on it overall. I think it's also partially coming down to where they don't want to play Wild Ones. We'll see what they do with the other maps. I think mining is probably going to be dicey for them among other maps here that they could pick. So we'll see if they try to put that off or if they take it for their second to last pick.
Absolutely. Waiting for Wild Ones to pick their second map, which my money is going to be on Tourmaline. Or not Tourmaline, sorry, Mining Collective.
Yep, there it is.
It.
Yeah. I don't know if have we seen D5X play on Frozen? Yes, they played against Frozen against PB Poo Poo last week against my team. So we have seen them play on that. But again, they might just keep it at arm's length sitting over there in the decider slot.
Yeah, we'll find out. So it's down to Frozen City and Tourmaline. Which one is which one is D5X going to choose? We have seen Tourmaline regularly become the decider.
Yeah.
In a lot of in a lot, even back in the best of 3.
Oh yeah.
Tourmaline was there, but it's usually like picked last.
Well, it's a weird map. I think one of the things is that the teams say, "Hey, Team 2 is just better on Tourmaline," and they don't want to be the one to pick it because they know if they pick it, the other side gets to choose their side, and they're just going to take Team 2 away from you. So yeah, there it is, decider again. I think that's like they took so long to deliberate that. I'd almost guarantee that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so with that, now they're going to go ahead and choose their sides. We can see that Not Dropship 5 picked Team 1 on Rubelite Oasis.
Oh, wait. I'm jumping straight to telling them 5 minutes. Yeah. They have a little more than that. All right, let's see here. I'm going to move the map strat over. So I do have all these positions memorized, obviously, because I'm best co-caster, but yeah, Rubelite Team 1 is going to be the left side of the map. So I think that's the side that's generally better for trading. I think it's marginally closer to the Theta Cap, but it also has worse cover on the cap itself. So if they're going to go for the cap, they like need to commit to it hard to actually get shots on it. Hibernal, what the Oops gets the pick for this. I don't know which side they'll go. I think we saw them play bottom side against, was it Dog Squad, right? Last week. And Dog Squad took that match off of them, so maybe they just say, nah, forget that, and they go top side. That seems to be a pretty comfortable side for most teams.
All right,
no,
Wild Ones. Yeah, Wild Ones picking Team 1 on Hibernal.
Yeah, that's bottom side. Okay, so we'll see if they take the same strategy or if they shift it up. I think part of what killed them before was having landlocked assaults by that radio tower area from Team 1, and then they just didn't really... when they pivoted to take out the Lerm boat for Dog Squad, they didn't have any support for those guys, and they just got killed. So,
yeah.
You know, there's obviously ways they can get around that. We'll see if they go with the same strategy. Mix it up.
Not Dropship 5 picking up Team 2 on Mining Collective, and Oops followed up with the Team 1 pick on Frozen City.
Yeah. So that's Team 2 on Mining. That's the right side. Generally better for trading. I think it's just a more comfortable side for a lot of teams. And then for Frozen, Team 1 is going to be top of the map. Which we've seen RJF play that side really aggressively. I think you have a decent amount of options from Team 1 on Frozen. Whereas Team 2's kind of stuck against that left side if you want to control caps.
All right, and the last one, Oops picking Team 2 on Tourmaline Desert. So with that, we'll have to do some quick team swap here, and then we can get people picking. So yes, Not Dropship 5 is starting off as Team 1 on Rubelite Oasis.
Favorite part of the day where I get to shift sides, and then the... Oh my gosh, this is such a nightmare. All right. I have so many people in here. Who's... All right, I guarantee somebody's on the wrong side.
Maybe just a quick check. Is that good?
Gosh. I think I did it. It's so annoying, because for anybody who hasn't run a lobby, when you drag people to the other side, it also randomly shuffles the lance. And since these guys have tags all over the place, I'm like pulling somebody over, and then I'm like, wait, okay, so who's on the roster again? Which side is supposed to be which? Oh man, it's a nightmare.
All right, so the timer's out. So Team 1's got 5 minutes. So flipping over to the map strat here. First up, we've got Rubelite Oasis. So we've seen a lot of play where people kind of end up. Oh, I gotta start actually drawing with actual. There we go.
Yep.
There we go. We usually see people kind of like post up here with trading mechs, kind of in these areas, like so. Though we have seen some really interesting strats, and I'm wondering if D5X is going to do this again. So they did they did this the last time is they actually moved Kieran and I can't remember who the other mech was or mech pilot was, and they walked their assaults like all through the low ground to come up in Fox 6. And it was like a long kind of trudge to get over to Fox 6 for those two assaults. And when they got up there, though, they just wrecked face all over the place. So I'm wondering if we're going to see something kind of weird like that again.
Yeah, it's really hard to say because Rubelite is very much it either it plays out in this one, like very common way, which is you have your team 1 mechs set up on the ridge, you got guys here fighting over Theta, inevitably the fight ends up happening on that D5-6 hill, or you see something just wild, like you just get fights in the corner of the map somewhere because somebody's doing like an Epsilon flank, or team 2 wrapped all the way around out of their Charlie and let's come up the ramp. So I think if it goes to the sort of traditional stagnant play, Oops have shown that they're really commanding at that style of play on this map. So there is a good chance that D5X will try to do some sort of out-of-the-box play and bamboozle the Oops players with something like that. But, with them coming from Team 1, there's not a whole lot, I would say, that they can do. I think Team 2 is the more interesting side, I guess, as far as what you can do. Because like the play that you drew there, just to highlight that again, this yellow line is something they can do, but now we're getting down to the top 4 teams. Oops, if they don't see mechs on the map, they're going to know something's up. They've seen the play before if they've watched footage and whatnot. So repeating a risky play like that takes a lot of time is going to be something that I'd be surprised to see D5X do. But maybe they'll try something else similar in another area.
Absolutely. All right, Team 1 has about 2 minutes remaining here. We're waiting for them to lock in before we really figure out where they are, but I would like to think that the positioning is going to be fairly obvious for this map, just because of the location of at least like one of the spawn points in Rubelite just being kind of off in the wilderness. And who knows, so right now, I mean, I'll just go for it. Right now, they're stacked up in Bravo Charlie. If we see something go in Alpha, we could see like a Kappa rush, or something along those lines. Whether or not they would want to actually commit to that, though.
That's the thing with Rubelite, and you have a bit of this problem on other maps, but it's hard to do, I don't know, quote, clever plays without just giving it away, right? If you spawn anything in Alpha on either side, it is obvious, like, your guys are going out in the wilderness somewhere. The best you can do, okay, Team 1 looks like they're locked here in Bravo Charlie, but, like, the most you can do is, if you're Team 2, when you spawn in Charlie, I mean, you're going to spawn there because it's the closest point, but you have that option to go around the back or on the front, and that's hard to scout for Team 1 until it's, too late in some cases. Best you can do from Team 1 is, I would say, spawning in Bravo and just take that little bit of time hit to go this way. But I'd be kind of surprised, especially since, D5X has locked up in Bravo Charlie here. They look like they're going a traditional standoff. I'd expect Oops to probably do something similar with Charlie Bravo. Maybe they'll stick one thing in Alpha to go get that Epsilon cap, or to have like an early flank. It'd be really powerful, but probably not.
So that is down to basically the race for Theta.
Yeah. So
Theta is like from Team 2 side, it's like 1,800 meters, and it's about 1,900 meters from
where's
from
the ruler?
The Team 1 side.
So yeah, there's that one, and gotta change my fill color. So as the bird flies, it's actually a little closer from Team 2. But again, that's kind of deceptive because of the terrain that you got to go through with Team 2 to get there.
Mhm.
Team 1 can, I think, just run straight through the basement, and they don't have to go off any hills, in the air, anything like that. Team 2 is a little more rocky.
Yeah, but of course the cap for Theta, it's really Team 2 dominant because you have this hill that's right. Well, it's kind of more like here, so like Theta kind of rests like just on the cusp of it, so it's relatively safe for them to cap that and be able to pull back and even throw like a UAV up in that area to be able to get some early game vision. There was one oops match where Polycat was able to get up to Theta, and the other team was here. Like it was like she just rushed in and got a really strong cap on Theta right away and was able to bounce out, quite effectively. And I think that didn't think wasn't even really challenged. Oh, we have a preemptive hold being called. I see. One of their team.
Yeah, it's
one
the
of
Oz has
team one went and disconnected.
But because the Oz is using farm internet basically.
Ah.
Okay, I was just a moment ago before that crash. Wild Ones had been readied up Alpha Charlie, and I was gonna eat, like, what? But it looks like they're swapping to Bravo Charlie while they wait here.
Yeah. Well, they haven't. They haven't declared a lock yet.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, they. Okay.
As long as he goes back into Bravo Lance. Well, once he's back.
Well, the fun of disconnects and lead management. At least it's before the match, so they don't lose time.
There we go. He's back in.
Looks like he's all readied up. All right.
Well, hang on. Team 2 hasn't indicated locked yet.
Yep, I'm just checking.
Mobile hotspot died. Wow, on a mobile hotspot. That's dedication right there.
Yeah, it's crazy. What some of these things like what Jay-Z playing was that their RJF match where he was on Wi-Fi laptop, Zia's on mobile hotspot. For our last match, I was playing on a laptop with no sound on Wi-Fi. Yeah.
All right, Team 2 is locked in. We can get going for our first match of the day. Oops, it's the Wild Ones versus Not Dropship 5.
Both sides locking in with that Bravo Charlie, so probably a standard move. We'll see if Wild Ones does that cap a flank off the spawn. They actually got a little bit of scouting info because of Zia's disconnect as well, so I'm sure they were paying attention. He dropped their tonnage from 480 to 450 when he left the lobby, so I'm sure they're predicting an Irby for him. And that was Bravo spawn, so
Yeah.
They might not be going for the early data cap.
That's also what he was playing in most drops before.
Yeah.
Previous weeks.
But it still helps to confirm.
If they've done their homework, then they're probably not going to be surprised overly by that.
I think that is one of the other strengths for Oops is just that, like, I think at some point almost everyone on their team has played in Assault or Light. So it's hard to tell like where they're gonna go. All right, I'm on the Oops side.
All right, go ahead and read them out. I'll head over to. Actually, no, yeah, I'm already on D5X side, so go ahead.
All right, we've got a Warhammer 2C with laser bomb, a packet with streaks and ATMs, commando with standard flamer SRMs, gargoyle that also has laser bomb, Marauder 2C that's also laser bomb, the Veagle is also laser bomb, and I believe the linebacker is laser bomb, and then an MPL Vulcan.
Yeah, looking at the other side, we got temporary access in a Phoenix Hawk. We get a Death Strike, an Annihilator 1P, Wolfhound 2, There's Zeos in that K9, Ultimate Ghost and a Vapor Eagle, Vulcan and a Stalker. There's a lot of Laser Vomit on this side as well, and PPCs. And of course, there is the rush for Theta. You can see Gogil and Terragato are trying to push into Polycat, but she's already there. She's got a sliver on Theta. I imagine trying to get at least some kind of cap on it here.
So first of all, I'm super excited. Here's the Wild Ones flanking like Kappa, just like I said they could do, and I didn't expect them to do it, but this is like a rush deck through and through. And we don't often see a lot of this mid-range laser ROM these days. It's kind of fallen out of favor. You see more traditional decks like what D5X is bringing. So I wonder if they're going to blindside anything. D5X, though, hasn't committed anything up high over here, so Oops is going to come up this ramp and not really find anything to catch. If D5X can scout that, and I think they might know, because they're really forming up to defend this.
Yeah, Gogil is pushing up to the north here, looking for some targets, looking right down on him, and Gogil taking 15% damage right away as in response. Down to 66%, dropping off the top and getting out of there with a lot of damage.
And Wild Ones is just going straight in right now. I mean, D5X has scouted this, but like they really need to start getting damage in now because they have lower. I don't know if they have lower DPS, but they definitely don't punch as hard at this range.
So D5X was able to stop the Wild Ones push. They were able to stop them up in the Fox 6 area by their long range trade mechs. They just didn't really have much to go up against them. Temporary Access seems to be fighting with somebody. Looks like tangoing with Texan Scrublord, so it's Vulcan versus Phoenix Hawk. Another big strike. Stimrog down at 74%, 70%, looking like he might have lost part of his mech, 66%.
Yeah, he is halved now. He's really fresh in his other half, but he is completely halved.
Yeah,
on the D5X side, most of them are pretty fresh. Gogil is obviously the most hurt, but he's still got armor on all of his components, so they're doing okay right now.
Yeah, John McFuzzy and the Gargoyles trying to see if he can do a run around here on the left side, getting an Alpha Strike on Terragato for a little bit of scrape damage, but Terragato was able to get away from that without his big strike against Pete Zone, down to 47%.
I mean, there's just not a lot of places for Oops to take cover on this side where they've set up, and yeah, there's just strike bait. I mean, they are getting cap control right now. They're taking Gamma in the back, they have Kappa, and Sigma is way too far away for anybody to get to right now. But, I mean, they're bleeding a lot of armor.
Yeah, the other thing that I should mention is with that Gargoyle, every burst you do is a massive amount of heat, and it takes ages to dissipate. Like, that is
Dajigas is getting flanked, though, and Jay-Z is trashing him with the help of Frio out there. And there goes the Stalker. So Jay's got a really...
Where the hell was that?
That was over in Echo 4. JJ just walked up and put him down with the help of Flep. And now he's going to get in the back of the other assaults, but he is... I mean, 1 against 3 right now, and he's not very healthy.
No, that was a bit of an expensive thing. Taking a look at the trade mechs here, we can see that the Death Strike with Flep is hitting at 80% is the lowest mech at the moment. He drops off. Ultimate Ghost and the Vapor Eagle at 85%. Kieran and the Annihilator sitting at a cool 84. Zeos taking down Stimrog. Stimrog was pretty hurt here.
He ate a volley from Kondo for that, but yeah, I think at this point it's going to be a tough uphill battle for Oops. They've just bled a lot of armor, and the assaults are still pretty fresh. Or I guess not all the assaults, but actually, yeah, no, Flep and Kieran are both pretty fresh, and Ultimate Ghost and that Eagle. Meanwhile, on the Oops side, you just have Polycat and Kondo.
Oh, Gogil goes down to Pete Zone. Gogil was trying to get trying to flank on them, but didn't actually do that. Meanwhile, Temporary Access is hiding right underneath Oops while Oops is trading with Zeos in the K9.
I guess none of them have seismic, because yeah, if they knew that, they could just drop down and kill him right now. It's a really dangerous spot for him to be in.
Oh, but Kondo and the Huntsman probably would have called it out by now, because he was underneath. Took an SRM volley at Temporary Access.
Ultimate
missed.
Ghost is looking to pick off Frio and Jay in the back, though. I think Frio is long for this world in this fight. He's about 2 clicks away from dead, and Ultimate Ghost is super fresh in that Eagle.
So Jay-Z coming down on Temporary Access. Nope, never mind. They're just trying to route Temporary Access out. Ultimate Ghost takes down Frio. There's so many pocket battles in this matchup.
Yeah, meanwhile, you have Terragato just handling the cap game for D5X. Polycat's running away to, I guess, live another day. I think Oops might be playing cap game at this point, just trying to stay alive. Because they have a 4-2 cap, and D5X is really splintering right now to try to go deny those caps. If they can get a pick on Zeoz here and just control Theta, that would be huge.
Yeah, it is a 59% Irby here. Let's take a look at his condition. The Irby is certainly open in the rear and pretty red front center torso armor. He's doing some pokes at Kondo.
I was going to say they are at the point now where 2 caps will win it over 3 for Wild One. So if they can just hang on to Kappa and Sigma, they win the game right now. And they don't have to hold it for that long, but they are like really weak.
Yeah, Jay-Z and the Vapor Eagle at 34 or 30%. You got Flep and the Death Strike coming up north here, 72%. So a very fresh Death Strike on the
Kondo's
field.
moving out in the back here to try to catch Terragato coming for the cap. Oh, this is going to be really risky for Terra. He obviously doesn't know, but if Kondo gets the shot off, that could be like game sealing. Well, a ton of damage, but Terra lives. He is, open on his side torso, though. So I don't think he'll be able to take any 1v1s on any caps. And Oops is in full defense mode, but this is going to be tough. I don't think they have the mechs up to hold Kappa, so they might need to, like, swing Kondo to Eps at this point, I think, is their only play.
Yeah, Terragato getting out there, getting out safely.
Yep, Polycat is completely defense on Sigma, just sitting in a corner.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, Zeo's taking down Pete Zone. The Zeos is at 40% now. Still,
Texan doing everything he can to deny this cap against a Death Strike, but it is not a favorable fight, and he's got the Veagle coming up. He's going to be there eventually. But Kondo just reached Eps, so this is just going to become a caps race, and I think D5X needs to really start just sprinting to these caps. Like, Kira needs to go sprint for Epsilon, help out Zeoz, because Zeoz does not have the armor to take out that packet.
So look
at the fight over 1v1 in Sig. Yeah,
let's take a look at it here. Trying to keep up with all these pocket battles.
Yeah, I mean, this is how cap games go. Everybody's all over the place.
Polycat's at 82%, so still pretty fresh. Taking a look at Terragato. Terragato is open all over. This is not going to be Terragato's match as Polycat takes down Terragato and gets a secure cap.
And Kondo takes out Zeoz. Zeoz is doing his best to deny the cap, but I mean, a Shriek Huntsman is just going to delete you in one click when you're at that percentage. Meanwhile, Kappa's still in Oops' favor because Texan's been just denying it this whole time. He's been doing a great job over there.
Texan has taken Flep down by like 10% since I flew away to go take a look at that Sigma battle. So Texan's being very good at just keeping this cap for
Kondo has been legged
Oops.
on Eps, though, and taken out by Kieran, who finally pushed over. So it's really tight, but Texan's holding on the cap, and that's all he needs to do. Flep is doing what he can, but, like, he can't get that angle.
This is going to be...
I think he just needs to jump over the cap, and I think with just one cap at this point, Oops takes it. It's just icing on the cake for this Vulcan to be here.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Polycat sticking by Sigma to keep that cap protected. D5 has not committed anybody towards Sigma, so even if they do take out Texan and take the Kappa point, there's no way at this stage that they're going to be able to go and get Sigma. And there we go. Texan goes down.
Finally gets the kill, but yeah, it doesn't matter. That's GG Oops. Yeah, I mean, that was very intelligently played at the end. I think their initial plan was very, very risky. Like, that was a deep gambit to just say, we're going to catch somebody up here. And when they didn't, they just were bleeding a ton of damage. And they didn't really have a lot of options. But, you know, their lights were able to get around the edge of the map and cap. And then they smartly said, hey, like, everybody just stay alive, get to cap, start denying. And they spread out very well. I think that was what cost D5X, is they didn't spread out quickly enough. Like, if Kieran had just immediately sprinted to Epsilon, had like Ghost covering, you know, I think he got Gamma. He had to walk all the way back to get that. But just the fact they lost Gogil too there when he was still fighting was crucial in that match because they just couldn't get anybody to the caps.
Yeah.
Look, the other thing to point out is when they played against Dog Squad last week, they consistently got outplayed on cap strats. So they probably would have been focusing on that this week, going, well, we lost cap strats. We need to be prepared for that. And preparing for it means that you know how to do it in turn.
Yeah, and you look at the damage numbers here. D5X handily in the lead with 4 people over 500. Only a couple over 500 for the Oops side, with Frio and Texan both putting in a ton of work. Kondo doing 444 in that packet. But, yeah, just well played by Oops on those caps to cover that.
Yeah, that was a fun one. So let's take a look at the map strat here. So what one last was talking about before we dropped this, where you can kind of do a bit of a of a deke against the enemy team. That's kind of exactly what Oops did. So Oops spawned in Bravo Charlie and went this way, with the exception of Polycat, who got the early cap on Theta, and then joined up with them. Meanwhile, you have not Dropship 5 kind of doing the standard, getting mechs up high, getting a couple mechs in the middle, and then a couple other transitory mechs, and essentially kind of working that way. Um, they got an early scout, I think, as they were pushing up when Gogil came up and jumped in the Vapor Eagle right about here.
The
But that
Vulcan, but
was,
yeah.
or yeah, sorry, it's a Vulcan, but that was a very expensive jump on Gogil's part because he got punished for that. But he didn't know really. I
Well,
don't think.
I mean, he was okay then though. He was still only lost 15%. I don't know. Did he re-peak or go to put a UAV? Because I was looking at the assaults at that point, but he went down to 66% after that. So he had to
Yeah.
stick around and get caught again, and that was what was really the problematic part.
The thing was is that so what not Dropship 5 did very well is they stopped the Oops push right here. So Oops was up to here. They had pretty much all of their mechs in this area, and they had nowhere to go. They had like their long range trading mechs were all over there, and they were just they were eating strikes left and right. And you had a couple mobile mechs kind of dancing around the Theta area, trying to catch Oops from going around this way. So they kind of had Oops backed into a corner. And then it just had to do with what you mentioned about Jay-Z kind of coming up this way. They probably kind of went more like this way to get an early kill on, I think it was a stalker.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
and
he
then,
was already really beat up from trading with Flep from that position. I think he was the closest one to the Oops firing line.
yeah, absolutely.
Or not Flep, but Frio. Flep would have been on his own team.
Snowball, if we can avoid giving teams an extra minute, just because if every match goes for 10 minutes and we go to 10 or 5 drops, that's 50 minutes. Which
Yeah.
will wind up pushing us over the start time for the next one.
All right, so looking ahead here, next up is Hibernal Rift.
Yeah. So one of the things that cost D5X in that last match too, if you look at the mechs, was that I think they only had an urban mech and a Vulcan for their light mechs. I mean, Vulcan's obviously not a light, but basically same thing. And that was why, I mean, as soon as Gogil died, like, what do they have to cap with? So, I mean, Hibernal's gonna be a much closer map, smaller map. So we'll see if they decide to just say, yeah, we'll take the same thing. We'll be fine getting the caps, or what. Now, I think previously they've taken usually more than just those two, right, for the light pack. I think they've gotten that like 3 or 4 mech mixed pack with the Phoenix Hawk. I don't know if I'm just making that up, but I think we've seen a lot of teams taking that. Certainly on Canyon at the very least, because we've been seeing so much fighting across this data cap.
Yeah, it tends to be like, like 3, like I've seen as aggressive as 5 from RJF, and then usually you typically find you get this weird kind of standoff, right, where you'll have kind of team 1 or team 2 rather set up like this. Team 1 you might have kind of more like this. I know I drew a little bit too many X's on the field there, but
that's
you get
roughly how it is. Yeah.
Yeah. However, I mean, there have been some interesting moves. Like, I can't remember if it was not Dropship 5. It actually might have been where they moved this way. Like the whole team did.
I know we saw SA try that once. Although the issue when they did it was that they left an Annihilator sitting back in Radio Tower, which got caught out. And I think that's when we've seen matches get dropped from the Team 1 side. A lot of times it's been this Radio Tower being like the grave of something critical, when the team
Yeah.
moves away. But who do we have? We Oops on the bottom side. And yeah, I mean,
I believe
we
it's
saw
for
them.
1 minute.
We saw them play this side last week, and they did, almost exactly that, where they had their 2 biggest assaults sitting up there. I think they got generally pushed off the Epsilon Ridge, and then made this counter push with their lights, and then these guys got picked when the mechs from Theta just wrapped this way. So, like we said before the matches, they need to be careful of that, but I'm sure they will be.
All right, so looking at teams, we have Team 1 locked up Heavy Alpha, a little bit Bravo, and 1 in Charlie. So I wonder if they're gonna if Oops is gonna go for that left side push.
These guys are really milking the 5 minutes.
Well, you did.
Yeah,
you did.
we do need.
Well, no,
we
they
need to
didn't.
be-
I didn't even
no,
give them the extra
we need
minute.
to-
Like I
yeah.
gave them the countdown on the right
Yeah.
time. They just ran all the way to the 5-minute limit.
Yeah, Nutty, we need to be careful about that. We're going to wind up running over time if they go to 5 drops.
Yeah.
And I know Russian Jade Falcon are going to be keen to go to bed.
I bet. Yeah, we'll do our
Yeah,
best.
it's approximately way too early in the morning for them too. When it gets to that time.
All right, Team 2 is locked. They are Heavy Charlie, 1 in Bravo and 3 in Alpha. So I imagine that Team 2 is probably going to be going for
Yeah,
the standard.
That's a more standard standoff setup. But yeah, you're right. That Alpha Bravo is a very aggressive start. I mean, you rarely see mechs spawn in Bravo. Even if you were going to make a push across the map, like on the Alpha side across Theta, you usually put something in Charlie because it spawns closer up to the front, and you have a 2-prong push, or it can come across Theta. But Alpha Bravo is heavily forecasting a Kappa heavy push. From the Oops side, anyway.
So we're just waiting for teams to connect in here.
Try to check builds. All I can. No. Well, I'm on the D5X side this time. They've got a Phoenix Hawk, Vulcan, Irby all in their Alpha Lance. Then they've got a Summoner and their Bravo Lance sitting back by the cap. And they've got a Stalker 5S, Bludgeon, Annihilator 1P, Commando all sitting on their Charlie Epsilon side.
Command coming in.
All right, so on Team 1 side, we got a linebacker, a Hellfire, Vulcan, Wolfhound, Marauder 2C, a Vapor Eagle, Warhammer, and a Quick Draw 5K. You can see they did stack their big mechs kind of heavily on the left side with it's interesting. So they spawned the Hellfire by himself in Epsilon.
He's triple Epsilon. 20. Oh no, but Terra is going straight down the line.
What's going on here? What's going on? Is this going to be an early catch-up against Kondo?
Is he getting called out? Oh, he needs to not shoot. Wow.
What?
Wow. That was so unlucky and then so lucky. And yeah, meanwhile, she's making a huge laser bomb push straight up the center of the map. I guess D5 has scouted it because they've completely bailed off the Alpha side. But is Terra going back now? Does he know? Maybe his team's scouted, seen the Lerms, and said, hey, there's a guy back there? Because this is... No, he still doesn't. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that could be... Oh, I don't know. That could be a Kondo.
Eyeball version 1OP.
Yeah. Frio taking some PPC fire by the big strike happening at Theta. Theta still has not been capped at the moment. Oops is taking the heavy left side approach against Theta with not Dropship 5 on the right. You have Zeos in the K9 just
pushing up aggressively in the trench, 1v1 Gogyo right now, and I think here comes Oops up the other side, but Stimrog just getting really punished for that poke. They need to coordinate when they're getting out here, and their assaults are still trying to get up top.
And there's the W key from Oops pushing into Zeos and also the who has a temporary access in Flep.
I don't think they know that this LRM boat's by himself because they could just send Taro and go kill him right now. Like they just need the one mech. He only has Lerms.
The clutch LRM mech.
Meanwhile, Kieran's getting blasted in the back by those mechs in the middle. They really need to... D5X needs to back off right now, like just complete S key and really coordinate what they're shooting because they're just getting pounded from all angles right now.
Yeah, Kieran's at 54%. Looks like he's lost half of his mech, so he's only got the 3 ER larges left.
Okay, and D5 has sent that commando to get on Kondo in the back, so Kondo's doing his best to keep putting out missiles, but he's got a limited amount of time with that commando behind him.
Yeah, he's moving. Moving fast. Kondo's at 88% at the moment. There you go. He's back with the team, and Terragato runs right into Frio and Texan Scrublord, and also JZ. Terragato's in a lot of trouble potentially, unless he can get out. Kieran's at 47%. Really, the only mech that can help him at the moment. But with Kieran down to only 3 ER larges, he's not going to be able to do much. Terragato does make it out, 66% remaining. Meanwhile, you've got the Pop-Tarts on the D5X side trying to stop or trying to hold the Oops push.
They really need to spread right now, I think. Like, they need to have Flep and Ziaz and Ultimate Ghost. And Ultimate Ghost is doing a good job spreading out, but right now, Oops is kind of in a kill box, but they've crunched D5X into such a corner that they can't do a whole lot to punish.
Yeah, Ziaz taking down Texan Strublord. Terragato getting back to the team.
Meanwhile, Stimrog getting a lot of good shots on the side here with that linebacker, and Flep's not even looking. He needs to turn right because he's about to get blindsided by all these mechs.
Stimrog taking down Ultimate Ghost, and Flep is going to be in a lot of trouble here as Oops pushes in very heavily. There are 6 mechs that are going to be closing in on Flep.
I think Oops might lose Frio in the back. I mean, in that Warhammer 2C, he was a little behind the push, having to step back to help out Kondo, and there he gets picked. So
yeah, gets hit in the back, shot in the back by Terragato.
And Oops is still down a mech at the end of the day.
Oh no, there's a strike in the middle of Oops, and they don't see it. Bowser at 54%. Does he get out? He gets out. Stimrog takes a bit of strike damage. I think Kondo took a little bit of strike damage, but Bowser was able to dodge
Jay making
all of that strike damage.
To the Stalker to flush him out of the volcano, but he got hit really hard from the rest of D5X, who was turning around for that. And right now, Kondo can't do a whole lot. There's not locks for the Oops side, and they don't have a lot of armor to hold those. Stimrog also making that push. I feel like that's almost suicide right now. They might have wanted to go back the way that they came. I don't know if they know how D5X is set up, but this is like pushing to the farthest direction from them.
Yeah, Bowser's sitting at 54%, but still standing tall, trying to get some shots out on either the Stalker or on the K9. A strike goes out. Yeah, strike goes out on Zeos, but of course he's protected by terrain there. Bowser at 49%. Let's take a quick peek at his mech. Oh yeah, he's
got a gill on his back now.
Yeah, Bowser at 37%. He's got 3 mechs behind him, Flep, Gogil, and Terragato. Bowser is not long for this world.
The Stalker is almost stripped. I think he's got... Oh no, he is stripped. He's lost all his torsos, just CT now.
There we go. Terragato takes down Bowser. Meanwhile, you have Kondo in the Hellfire B. He's got 3 LRM 20s and a tag still.
Bar with a good turnaround pick on Ziaz, who was in the middle of him and Polycat there. And this is going to be really close. It's basically a 3-on-4 right now, with 3 being on the D5X side, but they have marginally more health.
Yeah, Terragato taking down JZ and chasing down, and Kondo's going to go down next. There's not much that Kondo can do here. While he does have a clan mech in clan LRMs.
Yeah, Polycat needs to pull like a crazy clutch right now, but temporary access is still fairly fresh. I mean, everybody's open, but one good burn and then that's it.
There we go. Polycat goes down, which only leaves Kondo in the LRM mech, and Kondo goes down to Terragato. D5X now needs to spread out to get caps. They are currently at a cap disadvantage, but oh no, they had a cap advantage.
What the?
Yeah, they had the cap advantage. Sorry, I was still thinking about Oops being on the red team.
I mean, I would be confused for why we were sitting at caps in favor of D5X. No mechs left on the Oops side, and it didn't end. But whatever.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, what a matchup! All right, let's take a look at those damage numbers.
Just pasting that match code. All right, so yeah, on the Wild One side, JZ, solid damage in the Vulcan. Stimrog, a lot of damage getting those flanks in the linebacker. Frio didn't get to take a lot of shots, so that Warhammer 2C is the one that does not have jump jets. I think only the Bludgeon does. So he was down low a lot of times, and that thing doesn't have really high mounts, so hard to get those shots up. Meanwhile, on the D5X side, Flep pulling a ton of damage. Summoner, great mech for that map. Temporary Access doing a lot of work in the Phoenix Hawk, being the last light squad mech remaining. You know, just generally good damage spread, I would say, from the D5X side. Decent spread from the Oops side as well. I mean, Kondo was 695 in that Lerm boat. You know, the only mechs that really didn't do much were just the mechs that got caught out, didn't have shots early, and those were mainly the assaults on both sides.
Yeah, but Can that be the play of the game though? Terragato basically right beside that Hellfire twice.
I
The question needs to be asked if he knew.
there's no way he couldn't have known in the first pass. I feel like Kondo saw him coming, like at least saw him leave on the first pass, and was just
Yeah,
sneaky in the corner, just make no
because
noise. Hold your breath.
Kondo was about here. Was it here or was it here?
No, Kondo was back at your first X.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And Taro just made like that route right across the front.
And then turned around and did the oops, I probably isn't the right color. There we go. Turned around and did the exact same thing, and Kondo just kind of stood there very, very luckily, leading that off. All right, I think do we need to change?
I think
Matt,
no, it's
our
same
sides this
sides.
time. Same sides. Oh, that makes it easy.
Yeah, that saves some time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Oops doing kind of what we expect. Well, not what we expected,
Not what I expected. But what we expected given the spawns, I guess.
Yeah, we expected given the spawns, but certainly not what is common for this match. Oops doing that aggressive left side push, and again, like we were talking about, leaving an LRM Hellfire way over here by Epsilon to just provide some additional missile fire. D5X opting for the standard kind of trade-off set, and they were able to. I think they just had better. I'm not sure if it was better focus fire or they just had better positioning kills.
I think it was a positioning really, and maybe a little bit of mech choice. I mean, number one, obviously Pop-Tarts on this map are extremely strong. I think if Oops had like a Vapor Eagle or a Summoner with the rest of that push, you would have probably seen that thing do top damage, just like flipped it on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But just looking at how that panned out, I mean, off the break, that was really unlucky that Terragato was able to make that free push down there. But I mean, it's also reasonable to assume that, hey, if a light goes out like this, they're going to say, oh, this side's free. I guess I'll walk down and get the cap. So to stick Kondo out here with no support was super risky. I'm sure they did that so he could have better lines with the Lerms over the top here. And the other mechs wouldn't have as much cover because he'd be able to flush them back into the laser bomb range. And I'm sure that's what they were thinking. But yeah, that was a very bold play. And just to shove with full laser bomb up here was pretty crazy. I think the biggest problem was that they did, this push strategy, sort of hammer and anvil, but they didn't have an anvil. Like, it was just a hammer. And they wrapped around and pushed, all the way like this, and D5X, got folded into the corner and then folded this way. But that was it. They just kept folding away, and, just more and more damage is getting bled from the Oops side. Because those laser bomb mechs really need to have a clean trade shot to get a good burn. And I think when it got to the mid game and D5X knew where the mechs were sitting, their assaults were just generally playing deep. I mean, that Stalker was sitting in the volcano for who knows how long. Bludgeon was going out to Bravo 4, and then the main things that were trading with Oops' assaults were just like a Summoner, lights poking at them from various angles, and it's hard to get a lot of purchase with those laser bomb mechs. So it was really just like Stimrog and Brower who had the mobility, and the other fast mechs on the Oops side who were trying to pull a lot of the weight to get him out of that ditch. But you just saw them bleed a lot of armor making their moves. Like, they lost Flep trying to cross out of Charlie 4. I think Bowser got halved somewhere around then too. They had Jay-Z and Brower both make this, and Stimrog actually all go for that move out to Bravo 5. I guess Brower went a little more up. But
2-minute warning for Oops.
I'll just tell them, go. Oh, you already got it. But yeah, so we saw them bleed armor, and then Jay-Z ended up going over there just to come back. So I think really it was just they needed to make tighter moves. That they already had.
They need to ready up. Kong and Bowser need to ready up before they can actually be ready.
Yeah, we gotta. All right. Now it's actually locked.
There we go.
All right, there we go. But yeah, I think once they got that push that shoved D5X into a corner, I mean, this is butter zone ranges for laser bomb against like anything out here. If they had some of these angles, they could have had a great time. And given how much range D5X had, they did not have a lot of DPS on that team at all. It was all like long range, and then some standard skirmishing lights. So I think really Oops needed to have like something coming up this flank on Epsilon with Kondo, and that would have been really strong for them. You know, I think at the end of the day, oh, they're already readied. Well, almost. But that Learnboat was really interesting, and he put in a lot of work, but I don't know if it gelled with Laser Bomb, because you've got this Learnboat that's just dumping DPS and just spread damage over the mechs, and then you have these like precise Laser Bomb mechs that just want to isolate CT, kill the mech immediately. So from that standpoint, the LRM mech almost didn't do that much besides the sort of flushing out of cover aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know why Oops did that, right? Because Dog Squad brought LRMs against them on this map. Yes, the LRM Scorch.
Heresy.
But it worked. I think that was one of the matches that Dog Squad won. I think. All right.
And everybody knows how Mining Collectives played. They're readied up. So
yeah,
gonna launch us in. We got Bravo Charlie for the D5X side and Alpha Charlie for the Team 1 Oops side. So that's a bottom side push for Oops, and we said Bravo Charlie for the other side?
With 1 and Alpha, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a top side standard move for D5X. So yeah, we had that match was so wild I didn't have time to talk about this one. But
yeah, we've got to keep it rolling. We've been live for over 48 minutes at this point.
Yeah.
I need 2 drops in.
I mean, I'm going as soon as they're ready. I think next year, if they do rule changes, it's got to be like, 3 or 4 minutes between matches or something.
Well, I think the other one is that we maybe have to reduce the time for readying up to be down to like 4 minutes or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right.
So I'm looking at the Wild One side. We have a PPC Blackjack, Annihilator with Heavy Gauss MPLs, Phoenix Hawk with MPLs, I believe, Vulcan with MPLs, Commando, Direwolf with UAC 5, UAC 10, so that's DACA, Stimrog with that, Firestarter with MPLs, and then a PPC Blood Asp.
All right. Meanwhile, over on the non-Dropship 5 side, you've got Sleipnir, Deathstrike, Phoenix Hawk, Annihilator 1A, Vapor Eagle, Urban Mech Commando, and Vulcan.
Huh. So I'm looking at Bowser's Blood Asp has high mount pods, even though he's running the A with quad peeps in the arms.
All right, taking a look here at Theta, we've got Terragato trying to get a cap on Theta, but taking a lot of damage, down at 87% up against JZ, Stimrog, and Texan Scrublord. UAVs went up and are now back down again. Terragato is waiting for some backup from Temporary Axis, Gogil, and Zeos. You can see the PPC fire overhead from the trading mech. Stimrog getting that sliver cap on Theta, trying to maybe stick around for as long as he can, but he took some damage, so decided to back out. Strike goes out on Theta, but is an air ball because they were able to call it out. Meanwhile, you see the Oops movement. You've got the Blackjack, Annihilator, and Direwolf moving up the south side, moving up the Echo line. Meanwhile, you have the trading mechs from not Dropship 5 standing up here in Delta 5, and then you've got the Annihilator and Sleipnir kind of sitting up near Sigma and looking for some kind of push.
D5X able to take both the Kappa and Theta points pretty quickly, at least decap Theta. Meanwhile, Konglord's just sitting tight in the bottom with Frio right next to him. I wonder what they're waiting for as far as a trigger here, because D5X is pretty static. I mean, D5X will have to make a move either for Theta or for some position to get back the caps at some point, but they have a lot of time to just sit here and trade. And Oops does not have a whole lot of things that can trade. I mean, it's just Pete, and he's getting pounded because he has those torso-mounted PPCs for the Blackjack. So he has to go higher to trade than some of these other mechs might.
You can see the Sleipnir has moved around to the Delta 4 area. Rather than sticking back, but the Annihilator Kieran is still sitting back near Sigma. We've got Oops is doing the dance here in the Echo 4, kind of near the Echo 4 Theta ramp, with Polycat, Stimrog, Texan, and JZ. Zeos taking some damage. Texan Scrublord dodging a strike. Zeos sitting at 80% in that Irby currently.
And you've got Terragato going for those back shots, it looks like, crawling up behind.
If nothing else, I think he might just be doing scouting because, Oops hasn't really shown their Direwolf or Annihilator yet, so D5X has got to be wondering where the rest of the tonnage is right now.
Yeah, strike right on Bowser from him.
Yep. Bowser eating that strike. He's at 8. He drops down to 88%. And then Bowser is did he turn to look? No, he's not. He's still looking ahead.
I mean, Terra dropped that kind of smartly on the corner there, so I think Bowser probably assumes that was from the Cyclops, maybe? I mean, he clearly doesn't know that there's a mech right behind him. But if he has any sort of radar depth or something, he might get blips to tell him, but I don't think he would in that Blood Asp.
Yeah, a lot of strikes
going on.
Yeah, Theta fight's going on. A lot of strikes are going out, but they don't seem to be hitting anybody. Pete Zone just taking a big hit, down at 70% in that blackjack.
And there we go, Terra going on Gamma.
Frio and Bowser both. Okay, Bowser finally turning around. Frio turning around as well. I think they're just going to pincer this commando right here.
It looks like it. There is a movement happening. You got Polycat, Frio, Bowser, Texan, Jay-Z, Stimrog. They're all kind of coming in this direction. I think they're going to try to swarm Terragato.
D5X is not making the push that they need to with this distraction right now to actually make it count. Which, to be fair, I mean, Oops has an Annihilator set up to hold the middle of the map, so they really can't. And I think he got a nasty shot on Zeoz based on that 33%. But
looks like everybody else is going to back out, maybe.
Oh, must have been a nasty strike too on Zeoz because he is all open and brutally hit in the back.
Let's take a look. We do have two mechs. We have 2v1. We have Terragato hiding behind Epsilon right now. I don't think Oops knows where he is.
Nasty strike on Jay in the middle meantime. But he's pretty okay. It went all over his mech, so not too bad.
Zeo's 33% in that Irby. Wow. What does he have left on that thing? He's got 2 medium pulse lasers. He is open all over. 1 touch in the back.
And he's going for the cap. That is way too aggressive. That needs to not be him doing that because he's just gonna get killed.
There we go. Jay-Z taking down Zeos. Theta is still neutral after a brief stint with
Oops has been meanwhile just chasing down Terragato with their lights in the back, and D5X is just doing nothing.
Impersonation.
D5X is just sitting back and chilling, and that's the disadvantage of this extreme trade deck that they've taken. I mean, it's not even an extreme trade, it's just the positions that they took are very conservative, and they don't have any way to like make up map control.
Terragato's at 39%, was chased out by Stimrog and Polycat.
Finally got Kieran. This is going to be like a game-deciding move across Theta here. He is full exposed up there. He doesn't really have a way to back off, so D5X needs to clinch something here, whether it's picking off Pete or what.
Theta is controlled by the enemy.
Yeah, Terragato, by the way, is open all over. He's again, it's one of those mechs that if you breathe on him the wrong way, he's going to go down. You can see Gogil 54% in the Vulcan. Temporary access is 59% in the Phoenix Hawk. Kieran taking some PPCs at 71% in the Annihilator.
Gogil is open right torso. He got saved by the pillar from Kong Lord. That would have just iced his mech right there. But D5X is bleeding a lot of health as they try to make this push up for map control. I mean, they needed to do this when Terra was getting chased. Now, Oops has had the time to reposition and start getting all guns on targets. And Kong Lord is still super healthy in his Annihilator.
You can see Jay-Z and Texan on the kind of the north side here by Theta, trying to get some pot shots at Texan, or temporary access rather, which he got him down to 52%. Push Kieran.
Stimrog is doing the same thing as Terra just did. I think he's about to pick Natured here. One more good shot and Natured will go down. And he might be able to catch Flep as well. Flep is currently really weak, open in his left torso. I don't think he saw Stimrog on his radar. He's about to get destroyed in the back as well. It's going to be 2 pickups.
Yeah, Nature goes down. Flep is Flep is halved. He's lost 2 PPCs, which is going to make it a lot more difficult. Meanwhile, temporary access getting PPC fire from 2 angles. Kieran Yagami in the Annihilator goes down, and Stimrog follows up by killing Flep. Flep is going to turn and look at temporary access. Is Stimrog going to escape? And temporary access right in the back.
But Texan's Jay-Z. No time. He almost picked up another one on Texan. He didn't turn around, but yeah, now he's way too weak. They're going to clean up the rest of the team, and this is going to go to Oops. Well, eventually. They got to track down that Commando, but they've got plenty of mechs to do it.
Yeah, Terragato and the Commando down at 39%, currently doing a cap on Epsilon here. They obviously know he's there. They are starting to fire some PPCs at him. And
nice shot, and there he goes
down.
Yeah, and that is more the style that I expected to see from Oops in the other matches, of this like plodding, control-y deck with a couple aggressive push-ups, and just all.
All right.
Call outs in the chat.
Okay, so very quickly, damage numbers here. Bowser doing a respectable 759 damage in that Blood Asp, followed by Kong Lord and the Annihilator at 616.
I would just like to mention Polycat with the honorary panic button award there.
Oh, Polly
And
did
got
a full
kill, but she got a kill.
Polly did a
And
full
3
panic button,
assists.
ladies and gentlemen. Full panic button confirmed. Hey, wouldn't be a 228 takeover of MWCS if there wasn't some reference to 12 damage. But yeah, well done by Oops. They're getting a lot of respectable damage from their trading mechs, with the exception of Frio. The Direwolf just was never really able to basically become active. Meanwhile, on the D5X side, you've got Ultimate Ghost and the Sleipnir at 415. Gogiel and the Vulcan at 367. So certainly Oops out damaged not Dropship 5 by quite the
Yeah.
margin.
I think the biggest issue for D5X was, I'm just hopping into the lobby so we can move on, but I think the sides
Yeah.
are the same, so that'll be nice. We get to see a Frozen City match. All right, 5 minutes.
Do we need to swap? I thought we needed to swap for this one. Was it
Not
this
for
one or the
Frozen.
next one?
It's the same. Tourmaline's the one we need to swap.
Oh, that's right.
But yeah, I think it was just D5X was very conservative, like too timid, and I think some of their mechs, like Ultimate Ghost and the Cyclops, I think was doing a decent job of doing as much as he could with that Cyclops, because he was alone on that side, but they just kind of sat back. And I think that Annihilator also was playing a very deep position with ACs, and the advantage of having him back there, of course, is that if a push was to come across the top from Oops, and maybe that's what they took the laser bomb to sort of threaten that in the earlier matches. If a push had come across, he would have been a solid mech, like good DPS, tons of armor to just stand up there and defend that. But when he has to come across the map, he just gets like picked apart, especially when you have to step on the Theta with an Annihilator. I mean, people can just shoot your head over any building there. So he was just getting picked. And meanwhile, Bowser just having a field day with that Blood Asp with, it has a quirks with the set of 8, which I'm assuming he was running. I don't know why it had the high mount pods. Maybe that's a thing if you put on bolt-ons. But the set of 8 on that thing gives you 10% range and 20% velocity. So he was able to just stand in that back building and just lob shots for days. Meanwhile, Nature, the Veagle, does not have any of those quirks. So if he was able to hit shots, it wasn't going to be doing as much damage because he's probably hitting outside of his max range and doesn't have that range quirk. So I think he needed to move up. They need to take their more mobile mechs and like make a concerted effort, because they were losing those trades hard on Theta, especially when Texan stepped up with that Heavy Gauss Annie. Which, I mean, you look at that match, and how long did the Direwolf and the Annihilator just stand there in a corner doing nothing? And it was still going decently in Oops' favor in a 6v8, because D5 was basically doing the same thing on their side. So,
yeah, D5X was expecting what Oops and Dog Squad and others have been doing, is that north control, or that north push, right? So that's why they had that's why they moved their assaults. They had Kieran standing right there for quite a long time. You had the Sleipnir here. You had their trading mechs kind of all the way back here, expecting a push this way, right? And expecting a fight on Theta, but instead, they're Oops opting for the more like Zergling rush. And in moving together, they still did the aggressive move on Theta, and were able to do that quite handily. And then it was just they just kind of stuck in this area and waited. But of course, Terragato in that commando looping around, harassing Bowser with a strike or two. And then of course coming back here and like hiding back here for a while Polycat and Stimrog were looking for him, and then eventually chasing him off way this way. But by the time he got to here, he was down to about 39% health. Lost his flamers, only had his SRMs at that point. But Terragato is something that I think they have to pay more attention to. It showed in the Hibernal match where Terragato was able to handily either get kills or to at the very least do a lot of damage to mechs from that flanking position.
Mm-hmm. And that, I mean, had he gotten some better, RNG on the strikes, or if he had gotten there a split second sooner, because I think he showed up to that corner Sorry, I just wiped all your beautiful drawing. But he was sitting on that green X, and that was like just after Kong Lord had pushed up in Echo 4. He saw the direwolf sitting in that corner, but if Kong Lord had still just been standing there and, you know, he had just dropped a strike right behind him in the direwolf, that would have been brutal for the Oops side. Like, even nastier than the strike he got on Bowser. So
2-minute warning.
Thank you.
thankfully they're almost readied, so should be good to start soon. Anyway, that match went on for so long. We talked it to death. It's Mind
Absolutely.
Collective. It always plays the same even when it doesn't.
So with that, Oops is up by one. It's two wins to one. If Oops takes this next battle, which is on Frozen City, then they move on to play Russian Clan Jade Falcon in the next matchup here. Not Dropship 5 isn't out of the woods yet. They could still come back with another win and take this to the decider, which would be on Tourmaline Desert.
Mm-hmm. Now we see, I've circled on the map there, Oops going with the Alpha Bravo spawn. That's, I would say, kind of standard, but also a little interesting. I mean, there's not that much of a spread on the spawns for this map from Team 1, but you would typically see Max and Charlie if they were going to set up in Delta 5. Certainly things that are quick. So maybe we'll see some sort of like city push for Oops, or they'll do something akin to what RJF did and push across the center. But, you know, obviously I don't think that like sharks in the water sort of thing is their style. I think if they make a push across the center, it's going to be like laser bomb, no breaks, all the way across the map. But they had almost everybody ready, and then a bunch of unreadies. I wonder
30
if
seconds.
Yeah, they had somebody just drop from lobby with 30 seconds to go. I don't know what maybe they're redoing strategy. I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing some discussions here. I think that's Bowser who dropped. I don't know if they're bringing in a substitute for him, or if he's just deciding to swap to a mech really fast.
Rules are rules. It's past 5 minutes now. Are you ready up now? Go. Leave Havens now ready up and say locked or the forfeit the drop.
All right, Team 2.
Yeah, now they're ready up.
Well,
Like, we're not going to be, this is the semis now, we're not going to be giving any time extensions from this point
yeah.
forward.
I mean, you can't, especially with you know, RJF waiting. Those darn EU time zones.
Yeah.
Although even then, I mean, we say EU, but you know, RJF Russian Jade Falcon is so widely spread out. Play Team 2 already up pretty quickly here. That you know, even if you look at like left side of EU versus all the way over there, that's a huge time span.
Yeah, it's like about 4 hours. So if it's 1 a.m. in Moscow, it can be almost 5 a.m. over in Vladivostok.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, yep, just waiting for these teams to ready up. I'm expecting, like we said, that the Alpha Bravo might forecast some sort of city push. It could also just be a full map push. What we would normally expect to see is obviously this pink sort of line set up and something spread out along this yellow line, maybe that way, for the Team 2 side. I think D5X has been playing pretty traditionally here, so we'll probably expect to see some sort of standoff deck like that, but you know, always a possibility to do something different. I think, like you said, they need to keep tabs on Terragato. Commandos are really, really dangerous on this map because it's so easy for them to sneak through things with how small they are and how fast they are.
And the fact that the hitboxes just warp when they're
Oh yeah, I mean, you're also talking like a lot of these guys are playing from OC regions, or you know, like Bowser's NA. Like these are two teams that are spread across a ton of different time zones, and on EU servers, pings all over the place. It's already hard enough to hit a commando when you have a decent connection. So, yeah, those things are going to be pretty deadly. But, man, is this Alpha Charlie? If they lock in like this, that'll be... I mean, they're looking like they're going to lock in like that. So this is 4 Alpha 4 Charlie. That's a split side for Team 2. And I don't think we see a lot of this done anymore. I think it was meta for a time. I think in this season it kind of hasn't been, just because of the mech choices and also the vulnerability of one side. You know, RJF showed that really obviously when they were making their aggressive pushes up against that Go 4 and 5 side, that hey, if you don't put a lot of things to defend this alpha spawn for Team 2, we're going to destroy you. But T5X is locking in with 4 Alpha 4 Charlie, so I'm going to get us into the match. But it looks like their lights are spread out. I see Terragato and Charlie with Temp Axis, but they also have Flep and Ultimate Ghost down there who have been playing their assaults a lot. So they really look like they are going to try this half and half split.
All right, getting loaded in right now. Frozen City Conquest match 4. If Oops wins, they go on to face RJF. If not Dropship 5 wins, they go on to Tourmaline Desert.
Just got a notification on my phone that MWO Leagues is streaming MechWarrior Online. Oh my goodness.
Good game, Twitch.
152 viewers as well.
All right.
Pretty good.
Looking at the Wild One side, we have that Warhammer 2C again. Looks like Laser Vom. The Marauder 2C with Laser Vom. Linebacker C with Laser Vom. I might have said Wild Ones. I mean, oops. They have the Warhawk with ERP. Let me just verify these things. Yeah. And then they've got the Laser Vom Beagle again. Vulcan, Firestarter, Wolfhound. This looks like a cross-map push.
Yeah, you can see over on Not Dropship 5, you've got the Stalker 5S with 6 ER larges. You've got the Vapor Eagle, Commando, Vulcan, Wolfhound, Death Strike. That'll be probably the Quad Peep Death Strike. Annihilator 1P with Laser Vom and a Phoenix Hawk from Temporary Access. We've basically seen Not Dropship 5 take more or less the same loadout or the same drop deck every time, with maybe just like one or two changes, but certainly a lot of the same mechs. I think that's the same can be said for Oops as well. You can see Terragato was trying to get an early cap on Theta, but faced Stimrog, Polycat, and Texan Scrublord. Terragato pulling back, trying to deny the Theta cap at the very least, but Polycat was able to get a respectable cap on Theta. Not a full cap, obviously, but certainly more than just a sliver. Terragato pulling back, and meanwhile, Oops is getting their mechs into position here. Looks like they're going seven line side.
Yeah, they're making the city push, so that the first option I said, I don't know if I like them pulling back their lights, because I think this is going to be another hammer with no anvil scenario if they push around like this. D5X has scouted it. They're pulling Flep away. They pulled Ultimate Ghost away already. The only thing left over here is a Commando. And if Oops has to make that cross across open ground, they're going to eat a ton of fire trying to push down that hill because there's just no cover coming out of that city. I think they need to cut in the middle of the map with something.
Yes, Stimrog took a bunch of laser fire down to 81%, dropped a UAV and backed up, alerting to the
Terra.
team. Terragato rather. Sorry, yeah. Terragato pulling back and they said getting a UAV up so at least the team can confirm where they are. You've got one mech sitting in the back here. It's John McFuzzy and the Warhawk. Seems to be trading with, I believe that's the Annihilator.
He's a standard quad peep Warhawk, so he can afford to do that, and I think this might be a bit of their anvil. I think this is a better replacement than the LRM boat that they had in the last one, although if he's going this far away, it's not going to help much.
Yeah, it looks like not Dropship 5 put out a strike, but it was way too far behind far behind. Oops. Bowser's moving across open ground, taking a lot of damage here. He is down to 68%. Open in the back, open in an arm, 64% now.
Open in his right torso, just all over. He was definitely the focus target there, but he does have 3 large, so at least he can poke decently well, even if he loses some stuff. Meanwhile, Terragato's just going around capping, so yeah, Oops needs to turn up the heat quickly because they forewent Epsilon, and they're just, full pushing now.
Flep is at 42%, and the Death Strike getting caught out by Polycat Stimrog, 41%. Gogil trying to back up Flep while he moves out into a more protected position. Flep misses a jump and is still down in front of Polycat, taking some PPC fire as well. 33%, 30%, and goes down to John McFuzzy's Warhawk. Taking a look at...
Oops really needs to pick off Zeoz and Temporary Access right now. Like, they need to put lights down so that they can handle the caps on this. They don't have the speed that T5 does right now.
Yeah, speaking of, Zeoz down at 46%. Pete Zone taking down Temporary Access.
But Zeoz does get away, and they've got Terragato about to make it a 5 cap. They need to spread out, like, immediately right now, and they're pretty beat up, all things considered. I mean, John McFuzzy took a ton of damage moving down to catch up with the team, and Ultimate Ghost has a really good angle on their backs right now, and flanks, which is going to be the bigger problem, honestly.
Yeah, following the Oops Wolf Pack here, they're hunting down Zeos, who's currently at 46%. They're actually not even looking for him. They're trying to look at angles on the Annihilator, so they're getting some early pot shots on him. Gogil and a very fresh Vulcan is coming up. Texan getting a little bit of a couple pot shots at him. He's down to 82% as he pulls back. The Stalker is... Go ahead.
Just saying, Stimrog is trying to go around to handle the caps on the other side, which is the big issue right now. Even if they're picking up kills, they need to really get across the map. And he looks like he's going to get TV1, but Ultimate Ghost turned away from the cap. I thought he saw Stimrog going around, but I guess not. Although I don't know if Stimrog can win this 1v1 against Terragato. That commando is pretty fresh.
Yeah, the John McFuzzy goes down in the Warhawk, which removes one of their long-range trade mechs. We can see that not Dropship 5 is now down in the valley. All their Vulcan, their Stalker, and their Annihilators all on the low ground now, giving the high ground to Oops, with the exception of Ultimate Ghost and the Vapor Eagle.
No, this is hilarious. So, okay, never mind. Polycat is just searching for Zeos right now, but he is able to hide behind the building. I thought she was just about to set up and do the same hiding thing.
Bowser getting punished some more. Down at 48%. It's down to half of his mech. He still has 2 ER larges. So
Stimrock and Terragato are both at critical HP right now, fighting over this Epsilon cap, and this could also be game deciding. If Terro gets this leg on Stimrog and gets away, that'll be huge.
Let's take a look at Ultimate Ghost here, who's currently down to 50%. He's got 2 peeps left. He's lost a torso, so he won't have as much heat capacity. I can see there's a fight near Epsilon. I don't.
Yeah,
fly
it's
over
been going
there,
on for so long. It's Stimrog versus Terra. They're both basically one click, and Stimrog needs to get that pick.
So
it looks
Texan,
like they finally found Zeos there, but they lose that
Texan
1v1. Frio needs to turn around and deal with that cap immediately. Like yesterday, honestly, that's going to be like game costing if he doesn't get on that ASAP. The Stalker is completely irrelevant to the match right now. It is all about caps, and I don't think they're really respecting that, honestly.
Stimrog takes down Terragato. That's a big pick.
But I think he did get legged in that fight. No, he didn't. Okay, he's not legged, so if he can decap Eps and get to Gamma, they might be able to do this, but it's going to be extremely tight right now.
Jay-Z is trying to decap Theta at the moment, while Pete Zone and Gogil trade with each other. It is 2v2 here in the center, a 26% Stalker and a 51% Vulcan versus Vapor Eagle. The Vapor Eagle, the linebacker goes down. Pete Zone, that's a big pickup, leaving Jay 2v1.
But yeah,
Gogil
he can't handle
Jay.
that cap either, so... All right, they managed to pick off Zeos, but, man, Frio needs to get to the center immediately, and even then it's going to be extremely tight. Like,
Ultimate goes to 34%. He's jumping high to try to get at the to try to prevent the
honestly,
cap.
I think this is going to be in D5X's favor right now. I mean, Jajigas, don't walk off the cap. Just stay on it and survive. That's all he needs to do. Same thing with Gogil. They just need to play cap denial. But if he slips past his line like he's going to, then he's going to take Kappa, and that'll be GG. Oh, like, I think D5X is doing this right now. I mean, like, they just need to stay alive, and they've got a mech on a cap, and that's all they need. Yeah, Polycat needs to sprint. It's going to be insanely close. I would add Stimrog maybe run through the cap to decap it a little quicker to save them an extra second maybe, but they might have this. I mean, Gogil is not that fresh. He's sitting at, well, he's cherry legs, but he needs to really be watching ahead. I don't know if he has like strikes he can pre-drop left.
Yeah,
Oops
needs to send one person over to Sigma because
no, I think they're doing an okay thing right now if they can keep up with him, and it looks like their assaults might be doing it. I mean, honestly, they need to get on Kappa immediately or they're just going to lose. And I think they do.
Yep, that's it. That's going to be a cap win.
2, 1. Wow. An incredibly close game.
Oh,
Take it to a series of 3. Yeah, that was a matter of, I don't know, 3 seconds maybe. 4 seconds.
What a nail biter of a match. Holy cow.
Oh, man. That was really, I mean, well played on the D5X side, but that was really just thrown away by Oops on awareness at the end, I think. Like, Frio was standing on that corner in G5 just looking around for so long. like even when there was a mech capping behind him, like he needed to either be on that cap or pushing to Theta. And Stimrog pulled off so early in advance to go take a cap, and I just think the rest of Oops needed to follow suit. It was just some wasted movement. I mean, you look at the damage, honestly, pretty even for both sides. I mean, that was an incredibly close match. You have Kieran with 500 in the Annihilator, Dajigas with 575 in the Stalker, Golgio with almost 600 in the Vulcan, Ultimate Ghost 600 in the Beagle, Frio with 800 in that Warhammer. He did so much work, but just, man, they just did not spread out efficiently at the end. I mean, they had 4 mechs up, and you see them basically taking caps 1 or 2 at a time. I mean, Stimrog capped, almost 3 of the caps for him, so yeah, just, man, that was incredibly close. But I really feel like D5X played the beginning very well. In the middle, that was really well played by Oops in the middle, but then just clutched from the jaws of victory, really.
Yeah, all right, I'll let you...
Yep.
I'll let you swap your teams. Well, we go for the final match on Tourmaline Desert. So taking a look at the map strat here while one last move some people around. So it was kind of interesting to see Oops essentially do this kind of this. I'm not going to call it an NSR push, but more just a reposition over into Gulf 7. And I think the reason why they were trying to do that is they wanted to prevent people from using this dropship to essentially hide behind as they're doing trading, right? The dropship is a pretty useful area. Like, this whole area in general is really good for trading, but with posting a Warhawk here and then posting other mechs over on this side, it kind of makes it so it's a bit of more of a shooting gallery. They did get that early pick on was it Flep? Was it Flep in the
yeah, Flep was on the Death Strike.
Yeah, Flep in the Death Strike. They got the early pick on Flep kind of in this area here, which was really good. And then it obviously came down to mobility, and it came down to cap. So it really was that cap game, right?
Oh man, I'm beating, like, almost beating my head against the wall, because it's like there were so many just small things, and then that's the great part of these semis. Like, that was such a close match, and because of just small errors. I mean, I said, or as soon as that fight started, they need to kill the lights. Zia's 100% surviving that fight and getting over here, like, game winner. That like MVP play right there. The fact that he was able to sit behind that building and recap Sigma to give them literally like the 2 or 3 points they needed, or just the time that they needed to just be a thorn to make the Oops mechs have to deal with that, like, was just clutch. So it's
I
just...
mean, if you're playing a cap strat, like, the whole game is about delay.
But I don't even think D5X was doing a cap strat, really. It was the same thing we talked about in the other match, which is they had a commando. What is Oops going to do about it? Apparently nothing. Like, they just let Terragato absolutely, like, hey, let me play this game of capping all the points. Like, he got a cap ace. Like, I think he got every cap.
Well, do you think that, do you remember when you said when they were doing the 7-line push, they need to bring their lights up as a mistake? Do you think that had a decisive role to play in that?
I think partially, because they had their lights. I mean, initially for Oops, it was the lights came down. I don't know if it's from Bravo Lance, but they were on Theta, and they had serious control in the center there. And then they brought all of them up the hill here to wrap around with the push. And then I think that was what let Taro go whoop whoop and then grab Theta and push up. So I don't know if they would have been able to deny it, but certainly if they had cut in here with the push, they would have taken out mechs quicker, kept D5X in a corner more so that they wouldn't have been able to spread out. Because, I mean, Ultimate Ghost got from G6 to like all the way over towards Gamma at one point with how just able he was to move around the map. So
yeah, and he Ultimate Ghost, once he got here, that's basically also where he died. Like,
yeah,
and
I mean,
he just stood there for the rest of the time.
On Canyon, when they did this, like I said, hammer with no anvil, they had that, like, D5X just got naturally anviled by the map, so to speak. Like, there was a point when they could only go back so far because Canyon is such a small map. But on Frozen City, there's so much space, and that's one of the things that, like, you don't see often to play, because the map was kind of like microcosmed a lot of times into just 4 grid scares at once, especially just when you're looking at like the center of the map. I mean, this green box is usually where a lot of the action happens, maybe extended a little more this way. But there, just the fact that they didn't corral D5X effectively meant that they were just able to spread to the 4 wins, and then they let things slip through, like Zia's getting out to go sit behind. The fact that Gogil was on Theta and then disappeared, and they didn't, think ahead to say, we need to have somebody watching Sigma or Kappa. Like, those sort of just small ball drops are what cost them the match. And Gogil was absolutely, like, anything could have killed him from the Oops side, because both of his legs were orange. So just one, the Marauder, let's say, happened upon him, Bowser, with like 1 ER large, could have just swept the legs and killed him. So it was just a game of inches. And I mean, great to see, but that's got to be like, Oops has got to be there like kicking themselves so hard.
Absolutely. All right, looking ahead, we've got Tourmaline Desert for the final match. Team 1 has locked in. They're locked in here at Alpha Bravo. I wonder if this means that they're going to do the heavy left side push, even though really Team 2 is more...
I think Alpha Bravo is kind of standard for Tourmaline. I mean, you see this. I mean, just based off of D5X's, I think I can call it lack of creativity with their decks, or at least lack of wanting surprises. There is an element of, if you always play the same deck, you can get very good at adapting that deck to things, and that's gonna Oh, did I not grab the last match thing? Oh, I did. I'm a beast. Yeah, they can adapt it to what the other team is doing, and we saw them effectively do that on Frozen, where they were able to pull back immediately. They had Ultimate Ghost moving around. Terragato just became full cap mode. I think their lights and mediums were too aggressive, and that's the part that like I don't like. I don't want to sound like I'm just like, oops, should have won. But like D5X should have played that a little more intelligently, a little more quickly. They had really good clutch play at the end, but in the middle, they were just throwing mechs at the other team like it didn't matter. And it did matter, like we saw.
Oh, it was basically throwing bodies under the bus, going, well, yeah, I just need to slow you down instead of thinking ahead. Like, basically panic strat.
Yeah. But I think on this one, if we see them do a standard standoff, yeah, they're just no more, like,
2 minutes.
Full send. Yeah, just waiting for them to lock up here. But this Alpha Bravo push, yeah, that's assaults and Alpha, lights and Bravo.
All right, here we go.
Okay, there we go.
Let's do this.
This looks to me like Wild Ones is done playing games, or Oops. Wild Oops is done playing games. They're just going to come straight over that hill and try to end the match immediately. They don't want to have to deal with chasing caps again.
Well, just bear in mind, there's a psychological factor of, depending on some of the guys who may not be as experienced as some of the Div A players in these rosters, of shit, we've got to play another dropper, another set of 5 drop, potentially 5 drops after this, which is 5 more sets of strats we've got to think up, because if we use our clutch play here, we may not be able to reuse it.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's part of the reason why they took the laser vomit in those earlier drops, was like planning to be like, okay, we're going to confuse RJF a little bit, just planning ahead to the next series. But, whatever they got in their back pocket, they need to pull it out now, because this is coming down to the last match.
Absolutely. And you have RJF hanging out in the Twitch chat, of course, watching this battle intently, knowing that they're going to be up next.
AC Mauler, AC Annihilator on the Oops side. You got a Kit Fox with Laser Bomb, 2 ER large and a bunch of smalls.
He played that on Tourmaline last week, remember?
At Doc and Night Gear. I heard it, but I never saw what he had on the mech.
Bowser
with a ton of DACA and
he did a ton of damage with it.
All right, there's a lot of damage here happening right now by Alpha Spawns, flipping a dual Peep Summoner and Ultimate Ghost and a Warhammer to C Summoner. He actually had to do a tactical shutdown. Oh, he cooked his internals something fierce.
This looks like nearly the same deck as he had from last time from Oops, and they're just going straight across.
Yep, they're pushing straight into... They're going alpha to alpha here. Whether they're going to turn the corner here, I don't know. Yeah, Pete Zone of the Night Guy is doing a high jump, looking for a mech to fire at. Couldn't find anybody.
D5X
just a scouting jump.
Not even S key.
Oh my goodness!
Turn around W key away from the force to spread out.
Temporary access taking a ton of DACA, going down to 72%. Texan getting some pot shots in Gogil and the Vulcan.
And that damage on temporary is pretty spread out, but his right torso is pretty hurt at orange. I mean, they let Terragato get in their backline again, but it looks like they're not going to let him get away. They've got Jay in the fleet and Polycat in the commando this time for capping, and it looks like they're just going to hunt that commando down as much as they can anyway.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
absolutely.
like D5X has a very nice concave here, but this is also a like map control losing concave. They've got Ultimate Ghost trying to shift up towards the spires here, but I don't. How hurt is he? He's at 79%. He does see Polycat going out for the cap, but yeah, he, especially with those internals cooking, his arms are pretty weak. His left torso is not so great. So
yeah, Oops is taking advantage of the terrain here to keep themselves protected from strikes.
And Jay looks like he's just looking for Terragato to try to come for this Kappa cap. He's like, go ahead, try it. I'll take this one-on-one.
Yeah, you can see that there is a bit of a chase here. Terragato versus JZ. Terragato chasing out the flea, going for that Kappa cap.
But Ultimate Ghost is going really far out on this left side. And Jay is the small pulse flea, by the way, so he won't be able to poke. If he goes in on Terragato, it's full, you know, he's in. But Ultimate Ghost, if he trades with one thing and then has Polycat coming on the side, he's dead. Like, he has no support over there. But I guess Oops doesn't know. I mean, I don't think they have great scouting on the back because they've been playing with their heads down more or less.
So Ultimate Ghost is pretty out wide near Epsilon, doing trades against a Mauler. Meanwhile, Polycat and the Commando was kind of close, but backed off. Ultimate Ghost taking a lot of damage, down to 62%. Again, Ultimate Ghost cooked his internals early on, so he's got to be very careful here. In the meanwhile, everybody else with on the Oops side, again, they're trying to hide here underneath the spire. Flep getting some PPC fire out on Bowser in his Kodiak.
But Konglord's going to get 3v1 pretty soon here, especially with those low mounts. 4v1'd even, if Kieran comes back. Yeah, I think they finally should do this. Oops need to move a couple mechs down off the stage to get that cross angle, because they're really just getting stuck shooting into each other's backs right now.
Yeah, Flep and the Summoner taking some damage, backing away. Gogil and Temporary Access are down in the Delta 5 Gulch there, trying to find a way up. Stimrog finding purchase against Temporary Access, getting him down to 66%.
But yeah,
Stimrog, though, got punished.
Yeah, he just got clipped in his back right torso, and now he's halved, and his CT's open, so that Kit Fox is super beat up. I mean, one more good shot, and he's done. And once again, I don't know if they saw Terragato ship in the night across behind him. He might pick up Stimrog on Theta. But he's going into the, like, once again with Terra, that's crazy. So they've got Ultimate Ghost coming around the side because they didn't do anything to shut that down early, and now they've just got all these angles into them. They need to get Bowser, like, up here
Heat
looking
Zone's
right
in
now.
trouble. Gets pincered by Temporary Access.
Konglord's going to be next. Bowser needs to step up and start deleting things immediately. Gets a nasty shot into the back of Flep, but doesn't put him down. If they can pick Gogil here, that'll be really big. Texan gets it.
Got him.
I can't believe Terragato ran past those mechs and nobody saw anybody. Temporary Access is not healthy enough for this trades, and I think if Bowser and Frio just step up here, they're going to win this in the center. I believe Konglord's stripped? Yeah, he is. And he's one click. But he's still giving scouting, so they know the Annihilus around that corner. They know his left torso's open. And Frio's just going to go straight into his face.
So one thing to keep in mind is during all of this, Oops has a significant cap advantage, 450 to 87.
And yeah, that's allowing them to make this push with confidence, because right now both of the lights for D5X are off capping because they have to.
Temporary Access down to 30%.
Yeah, I think he needs to shift to the cap game. They need to bring Zeoz back in, but it's too late for that now.
Nope, Bowser taking out Temporary Access. Konglord goes down finally. That stick to Annihilator. Meanwhile, you get Jay-Z harassing a Stalker. That's a weird thing. Normally it's Jay-Z and a Stalker. Frio and Bowser and the Mauler are trying to peek the side, looking to see if they're able to find lines on the Stalker. They don't. Ultimate Ghost pushes up, and Bowser turns around and takes out that Warhammer.
And yeah, at this point, there's they've got Polycat out capping, they've got Jay heading back to deny Kappa, they've got Stimrog who's weakened, but he can still come and help Jay to win that 1v1 there, even though the Flea, I think, is one of the best duelist lights in the game. And this is going to go to Oops' favor. I mean, D5X is doing everything they can with their lights.
So Zeo's here at Kappa, fighting up against Jay-Z, and you have Stimrog and the Kit Fox who's coming up as well to help him out. You've got Terragato and the Commando by himself way over at Sigma.
That strike. Oh, 20% off the Flea.
Oh!
28%.
Down to
Gosh.
54%.
Fair and balanced.
Well done on that strike. I don't know that Zeos realize. Does Zeos realize? Okay, he has to know that Stimrog is there. There we go. Stimrog down to 39%. Zeos taking out the Kid Fox quite handily. Right now, Jay just has to delay. He just has to delay.
I mean,
That's
he
all
doesn't
they
even
have
have
to
to do anything. They've got an easy 3-cap in the rest of the match. The rest of the map, even. I think part of the problem here is Terragato came back to Theta, which I can't believe that once again he ran up to Theta. Stimrog was standing there like one touch from death. He didn't see Stimrog. Stimrog didn't see him, and then somehow he jumped into the trench. Like they just both completely missed each other. But I don't like that he came from Kappa across the map to Epsilon. I think he should have stayed in the backfield, just playing that Sigma Kappa line. And I mean, that's, there's only so much he can do by himself on this map because it's so spread out with the caps. Like on Frozen City, you have much more close pairs, right? Like you have Kappa Sigma are just connected through the tunnel. You have Gamma and Epsilon that were really close. But on Tourmaline, if you're just the solo mech moving around the map, you can get just countercapped really quickly and really easily. And that's all they had to do. I mean, the other thing was on this map, Oops, with the Commando and the Flea has a lot of potential for running around the map. And that just helps him deal with this. And there's Zeos picks Frio, but gets immediately traded by Bowser. Not that it matters. Just icing on the cake. And this set's going to go to Oops after a long 3-2 series.
Wow, well done. Well played. I got to very quickly... do things there. All right, there we go. Let's take a quick peek at the damage numbers while I start doing my stuff to get set up here.
Yeah, I need to do mine too in the lobby. Bowser doing a ton of damage in the Kodiak, 568. Kong Lord, 654, even with the quintuple jam and the Annihilator. Frio with 570 in that Mauler. So all the assaults putting in a ton of work for Oops. Meanwhile, on the other side for D5X, you have Flep with the Summoner, managing to get a lot out of that castle. Temp Axis and Gogyo with a lot of those shied shots doing almost 400 themselves. And then Tajigas and the Stalker with 300 off the back wall. I think the other mechs just couldn't really get up. Like Kieran just got pounded anytime he tried to peek into the castle, and Ultimate Ghost got some, but only sparse angles in the back. Then you had Taro and Polycat both just running around capping. But I think we just have to go straight into the next match. It's a shame. I mean, there was a good amount to talk about with that one.
There really
solidly
is, but,
close game. I mean, I say solidly close, but I think that time there was a much better control from Oops to push D5X into an actual corner this time. Like there was nowhere their mechs could go to spread out with the way that Oops was set up, other than the very edges of the map, and that takes so long that they just couldn't get it. I mean, they had Zeos and Terragato break off early. I mean, Terragato was completely broke off for the entire game, just handling caps, and they still couldn't catch back up.
Alright, cool. Do we want to just boot the remaining D5X guys from the lobby? Just so we can get the RGF guys straight in?
Yeah. All right, folks. We just need 1 or 2 minutes here. So good game with that. Oops wins against Dropship, not Dropship 5, 3 drops to 2. We just need a couple minutes here just to very quickly reset for our second and final match of the day. RJF versus Oops. It's the Wild Ones. So stick around, folks. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. Thank you very much for your patience, everybody. Welcome back to match 2 for the last weekend of the semi-finals for MechWarrior Online Championship Series. My name is Nutty Rat. Joining me once again is One Last Bite.
Yeah,
Hi,
and
One Last.
Hey, I mean, I'm still frazzled from what a series. I mean, that was crazy.
Absolutely, and also Tadachi hanging out as well. We are just about to get the map bans going here. We are a little bit behind schedule.
I'm gonna tell them bands are good to go right off the bat.
So this is the final match. Absolutely, this is the final matchup of the day. Russian Clan Jade Falcon versus Oops is the Wild Ones. You just saw Oops go toe to toe with not Dropship 5, winning that series 3 drops to 2. And now it is off to the final match of the day. RJF and Oops with the winner of this matchup facing JGX rather next weekend.
And this is a rematch too. So both these teams played what two weeks ago, I think, or was it last week? Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And in that series, I think Wild Ones took the first drop on Rubelite, and then RJF won the. I think that was still best of. No, that was best of 5. They took it back on. I know they won Frozen, Hibernal, and what's the other one? Was it Mining?
Yeah, Mining.
Yeah. So RJF with the immediate pick of Mining again. I guess they feel comfortable from either side there. Oops is going to take Rubelite. They seem to just feel right at home on that map. Now, if this does come down to an extended series again, which we expect, what will Oops do to respond to what RJF did on Frozen Hibernal? Because Frozen was a very dicey map for both sides. With last time it came down to, I think, 2 mechs left for both sides, maybe 3 for Oops, and then they just lost it to Caps, like very narrowly, because RJF had better mechs left to get around the map. And then Hibernal, RGF just completely blitzed, and you see them taking that for their second pick. They just came right across the map and put mechs in the dirt immediately. And both times, it looked like Oops didn't really have anything set up to deal with it. I think on Frozen, they had a little bit more of a, they had a Marauder 2C with Laser Bomb, but it just couldn't get shots in. But they're going to take Tourmaline and just...
Frozen, they knew, because RJ pulled out exactly the same tactic as they did the week before, but had no solution to it. On Hibernal, if you remember, that match was over and done within 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right, so there we go. Mining Collective, Rubelite, Hibernal, Tourmaline, and Frozen City as the decider. We're now going through the team selection, so let me see here.
RJF is already on Team 1, thank you.
Yep, for the first 2 drops, everything is the same. So you don't have to change. You don't have to swap
taking
people out.
Team 2 for Mining, which we saw them take Team 1 last time in that matchup against RJF. So they've opted for the other side. Meanwhile, RJF taking Team 1 Rubelite, which is what they took against Oops last time. Oops is going to take Team 2 Hibernal. That's the same side they had against RJF last time. So this is, I mean, through and through going to be a rematch, basically. Like, I'm not seeing too much different here, although we have Tourmaline for the 4th match instead of Frozen. Frozen going to be the decider. And I think the fact that Oops didn't pick Frozen speaks to just the ferocity of that RJF light pack on that map. And it looks like RJF is going to get Team 2 Unfrozen. So I don't know. Can you see which team got that? I guess I can look at the log to see who got the random pick there.
Sorry, for Frozen City, it is team.
Okay.
Oops, getting Team 1.
Yeah. So well, I want to know is, did they get the pick? Because I know that last pick for the 5th map is random. Which team gets to pick?
All right. All right. So with that, we are all set to go. We are going to start off with Mining Collective. Teams are setting their lances right now. Let's swip the map strat over to Mining Collective, and let's talk about what we might be able to see here. I know a lot of people have.
Correct. One last RJF of a higher seed because they progressed further in the winners bracket.
All right, and so much stuff to juggle here. Thankfully, I don't have to juggle the teams. All right.
Yeah,
so but anyway, I did confirm that it was Wild Ones, Oops, Clock, MG 12ers that got the pick for Frozen, and they took away that Team 1 from RJF. So I think that was, I don't know if that was an intentional gamble, and they were like, oh yeah, we can take Team 1, yoink. But it's definitely going to be harder for RJF if it comes down to that map to make a play. They might have to make a upper city push, like what we saw Oops just do, but in reverse.
Yeah. All right. So looking ahead, let's take a look at Mining Collective here. The first drop for these two teams.
So
go ahead.
I don't know if we've seen RJF take Team 1 on this map. Have we?
I'm not sure.
I don't think. I mean, obviously, in some tourney in years past, they've probably played it. But yeah. So what I'm guessing, I don't even know if we've seen Oops play Team 2 either. So this will be kind of interesting because the mirror of what the teams have been doing won't function on mining. So what RJF had been doing, I mean, it will sort of function. But what RJF had been doing was having this beefy assault pack up in Charlie 5 D6, if I recall, and then the light pack come across the bottom. Am I remembering correctly? Or am I flip sides in my head?
Sorry,
I'm pretty sure that they did this.
About
what RJF has been doing. No, what RJF has been doing. They've been doing that assaults across the top, hammer and anvil with the lights from Team 2.
Yeah, RJF has this like 5 mech wolf pack, at least what we've seen so far, that is incredibly strong. Like, it is very mobile. They have, certainly have 3 bigs that are kind of more standoff mechs, more tradey. But it's their wolf pack that you have to watch out for. They move together very well. They call and focus targets very well. And seeing it for the first time when for the first match that I casted for them, it was quite a difference compared to what people are used to seeing. So we might see that again. We might see that here. We might see that very strong RJF wolf pack trying to catch out what would be a smaller wolf pack potentially from the Oops side.
Yeah, the trick is for RJF, since they're Team 1, this alpha side, I think it's gonna be a little tougher to do, just because Team 2 has generally more lines to look at that angle, versus like Team 1 kind of struggles to deal with that bottom side because they really only can see it from the top of that Echo 3 Fox 3 building. But just looking at what's gonna
sorry, what was that? 2 minutes?
2 minutes.
All right. I mean, go. But looking at the JGX versus RJF match, we want to talk about what were the chinks in RJF's armor when it came to that light pack. Was when JGX just went 5-on-5 and just straight up blocked that push, because I think in all the other RJF matches they had the numbers advantage because 5 is a lot of mechs to have in that wolf pack in this format. And they were able to just force the issue, and everybody just had to give up ground until they came under the firing lines of their other mechs, whereas JGX just fronted right up and just took the 5-on-5 with maybe a little bit of coverage from their other mechs in the back. And that was kind of like a thorn on RJF's side. You saw their pack get a little splintered up, start fighting different fights, and they lost that like focus fire that has been like, the essence of what's made their pushes so deadly. But, we'll see what Oops does on this one. RJF looks like they're readying up mostly Bravo Charlie, so that is a topside maneuver, and that's more of what we saw with the, I would say, old meta, and what you see with more push teams on this map is this push coming right across the top of the map. We've talked about it over and over again, but it really is the most popular area just because of those ramps versus the top or the bottom of the map requiring all the JJs, so you can just take more effective assaults to make that movement on the top. All right, and there RJF is locked in with a Bravo Charlie split. Most of their meat in Charlie, and one mech in Alpha, so they might still want to play this kind of slow game. I could see them doing some sort of back standoff with their mechs in Delta 3 to Echo 3, and then have the Wolfpack run kind of under them. But without being able to control the cap easily from Team 1, they're going to have to be either really aggressive or really creative in terms of how they force the issue on the map to get cap control, to be able to not have to make them push in.
All right, Oops seems to be swapping some people out, probably changing some mech builds, seeing what as far as where RJF is set up, and they probably know what each of those pilots typically run, so they are working out what exactly they want to do. Again, just a reminder for those folks that are new here while we're waiting for them to lock up. It is an 8v8 format, best of 5. There's 5 map bans in the pool that you saw. All weapons and tech may be used. You've got a maximum of 480 tons. All strikes are allowed. All mechs may be used. That's including hero mechs, founders mechs, heirs, Jenner, gold mechs, etc. Maximum of 3 mechs per class, and no duplicate chassis. So make sure that you pay attention to those.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of mechs do you think we'll see, Nutty? Cyclopses, Annihilators, those seem really popular.
Well, we've seen Bowser bring out PPC Blood Asp on mining, so he definitely loves that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if Oops goes like to the standard positioning, which I don't know that they will, you know, if they do like the north side strat, you might see a mech here, you know, kind of mechs in these areas, right? But you're then committing 3 or 4 mechs for that standoff, doing that early theta cap, or at least trying for that early theta cap. You know, whether they go for the theta cap or they just try to contest it, that will be the question to ask, because they know that RJF is an aggressive team. They know that they know that they're very good at being an aggressive team.
Sorry. My water went for a spill.
As long as it didn't go over your computer.
It was mostly empty. We're good.
So, you know, it's more of, do they want to clash against the RJF push strat, assuming that's what they're doing? Or are they going to want to try to squirrel them into a location where their tradie mechs can do more damage, right? I wouldn't be surprised to see some dual heavy Goss from one of the teams, like maybe Oops.
Oh, definitely. I think you're almost guaranteed going to see 1, maybe 2 heavy Goss mechs from Oops. I could definitely see the Thanatos at the very least, and that's probably going to be game deciding, because if that guy gets, you know, an open component, I mean, I would say a pick on a mech, but even an open component is good enough as a pick with how good both these teams are. Mm-hmm. Then that's going to be absolutely critical for shutting down RJF's late game. And if they do that, then that opens up their space to just spread out, take their trades. And I think that's where they're going to shine in this matchup. But the trick is, if they take that defensive Sigma position with their assaults like we've been seeing, and their lights get, you know, forced out because of the 5v4 or something on the bottom of the map, then they're going to get put into a corner. And then RJF's just going to sharken the water around them. So, and it looks like, yeah, so Alpha Charlie spawns locked in. I'm going to launch us in here. But Heavy Alpha with a bunch in Charlie and only Stimrog and Bravo. So that's going to be a bottom side push from Oops. And I guess, yeah, they don't want to get pinned into a corner. They're just going to force the issue and take the fight to them. And that bottom side push is actually really unconventional from Team 2, because there is not a lot of, like, helpful terrain around there. You've got that awful crane with its just terrible invisible wall hitboxes, and just really janky cover going across there. So I guess they're doing something really aggressive. I mean, maybe they're trying to swap fields and just get mechs up high on the whole bottom of the map. But just anything to unseat and push RJF out of their comfort zone, because that's probably where they're going to get the most purchase.
Just waiting for the teams to get to connect into the map. I'm over on the Oops side.
And I'm already looking at RJF. I see an Annihilator 1P with what looks like ER larges, an Irby K9. I got a Phoenix Hawk with, I'm guessing, MPLs, Vulcan with MPLs, presumably. Vigal 1, so is that PPCs? Oh, Triple P, which is kind of unusual for RJF. They usually like the one that has the LBX. They've got the Quad P Pylander again. Goss ER large, Mad Cat, and an Osiris with Meat Pulse to line it out.
Yeah, looking at the Team 2, we got Wolfhound, Warhammer 2C, Viper, Vulcan, Hellfire,
that'll be that Viper that he ran to go onto the satellite dish in Worlds.
Oh. Yeah,
I'm trying to find that Viper right now here.
Micropulse and a Narc. So who has Lerms on that side? Is it the Hellfire?
The Hellfire, probably the Hellfire again.
Yeah, he's got triple Lerm 20 again.
So RJF electing not to do the aggressive Wolfpack on Theta. They might be grouping up to do something. You can see the 5 mechs kind of circling over on the left side there. But Oops able to get a very strong early cap on Theta. You see the Phoenix
Oh
Hawk
boy,
from RJF
this is some
is
map
coming
science from Stimrog. So Stimrog is going to go over the top out of the map here. I think
What
he's
the?
he's in the map
Yeah.
in Charlie 5. Yeah, we tried this out once long ago with the spider with a ton of JJs. But yeah, he is in the map, inbounds up there on that dish, and now he's got. I mean, this is the sort of secret strats we were expecting them to pull out when the match mattered. And he's got vision over the entirety of RJF. He knows exactly what they're doing, and that's huge for his team. Yeah, he can't lock anybody, though, from that distance. He doesn't have narc, and he didn't take ER larges, which I'd imagine is probably so that they don't know. Like, if he shoots, they're going to know he's up there. But
Yep. Jay-Z and the Phoenix
Well,
Hawk is
typically,
trading.
like, if you're going to run ER large, you do it from the other side, where you can actually go into that dish that Nutty's looking at right now.
They have
So
resources.
RJF has the Wolf Pack together now. They're moving up into Theta. It's only 4 mechs right now: in Osiris, Vulcan, Phoenix Hawk, and Urban Mech. They are going to recap. They're going to take the cap away from Oops and recap it. But a strike goes out on Theta, probably thrown by that Viper. Meanwhile, LRM fire happening against the Osiris. Down at 56,
now
96%,
now he can just
94.
literally run over the invisible walls to get to the Kappa point. But he's been spotted by the RJF assaults, and now Stimrog is in a bad position because he is pinned on that side of the map. But I think he made that push because they know that the RJF lights are nowhere near to support that. So they have nothing that can go back and do him. That's a very intelligent play there.
Absolutely. You can see Oops here stacked up 3 mechs on the lower side of Theta, trading with Slave Laver, the Vulcan, and the Phoenix Hawk.
And now here's the icing on the cake. Stimrog's just going to go narc all those assaults in the back. And they don't have cover on this side of the map. Team 1 does not have much that's high enough. The Stone Island is already getting super beat up by Brower.
Like, that's some big brain strat right there.
Yep. And RJF, their light pack's now starting to push into the bottom. They're forcing the issue, which they kind of have to because Oops is just playing this extremely deep control. Oh, the Warhammer 2C, is that also LRMs?
Let's take a look. Do we have 2 LRM mechs? Is that what it is? It is.
Yeah,
we have a Hellfire. We have a Hellfire with 3 LRM 20s, and we have a Warhammer 2C with 3 LRM 50s and 2 LRM 20s.
Bowser has picked off the Osiris, who was trying to harass him in the back. Looks like the whole RJF light pack's coming back, but Bowser has teammates here to support him, so it's at least a 3v3. Going to be a 4v3 once Polycat gets there. Stimrog is now on the Annihilator. RGF's assaults have shifted across the map, but they just don't have lines on anything other than Bowser, and Bowser's going to go down soon, so once that happens, their position doesn't really matter. And meanwhile, the caps are just taken away for Oops.
Yeah, the Vulcan goes down, and then followed by the Annihilator. That's a big pick. Those are big picks.
Yeah,
Bowser on the Blood
getting
Asp at 49%, though. He certainly is hurting. He has lost half of his mech.
Pretty fresh in his other half, but he's definitely going to go down. I mean, he's just basically, I will die on this hill at this point with these RGF assaults, but he's doing exactly what he needs to, which is just killing things. And now they've got RGF in a kill box with the Lerms raining down.
Stimrog is getting harassing Stone Island while getting peppered by LRM. Stimrog now moving in towards the Mad Cat 2. I imagine still throwing those narcs out to get to direct that LRM fire.
No, he lost his, I guess it was in the arm. He lost the narc.
Oh,
so
he
is
did?
just
Okay.
a micropulse laser. That's why he's full engaged right now.
But you can see the LRM mechs from Oops is moving up. Whiteus and that Vapor Eagle taking a lot of LRM fire, going down to JZ, though. You can see now down to the Mad Cat 2.
And there you go. That's going to be an 8-0 sweep for Oops. Oh, no, it's not.
The enemy has
A
captured
great
enough
shot.
resources.
I guess, was that a strike? Where even was Texan?
He was
I
in the back. He was in the back.
In some ways, a lot more interesting than when... Do you remember when Eon ran a Lerm strat against RJF on Canyon?
That was ages.
That was...
But it was so devastating at the time. And
Yeah.
this is, in some ways, I think, even more creative than that.
Yeah. I mean, the damage numbers tell you the whole story. I mean, that's the sort of thing you expect to see as far as damage from a pub stomp. And RJF is no easy team to go by, but that plan was mwah.
Oh yeah,
from the Oops side, that was executed perfectly, and RJF basically did. It seemed like everything they wanted.
Yeah, but they weren't able to. Really handle the 2 LRM mechs, and that Warhammer 2C had 3 LRM 15s and 2 LRM 20s. So a lot of LRMs. Certainly had to be very careful with choosing where to fire those LRMs, just simply because of limited ammo at that point. But yeah, that early jump up by the Viper, to get that the early game vision on the entire map. That was huge. That was that
Give
that
them the
that that certainly gave
timer.
him a lot of early game advantage.
But it's just like everything came exactly the way Oops wanted it to. Like they had this really bizarre bottom side push, which they pushed up with almost the entire team. They were able to then immediately nix Gamma, Epsilon, Sigma. That gave them a 3 cap. They had Stimrog hop up here. Then that immediately gave them, okay, what's the whole RGF light pack doing? As soon as he sees, oh, their lights are on Theta, they're heading out this way, boom, he just says, all right, I'm going over the top. And even though the assault saw him, he's cut off now, but it doesn't matter because RJF's lights have all cleared out because they've scouted that because of the vision he had from that point. And so they just say, oh, there's a Viper in the back line, and I guess
Do we have
they
a
didn't get
team talk?
scouting. It should just be the same. I tapped out. I think we're good. I put him on the timer. We should be good to go.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was basically boom. The lights have cleared out. I'm going to move across. He knows he can take that, and then RJF didn't react snappily enough to the fact that, hey, that guy just stopped capping Kappa. Stimrog just hops up, narcs assaults. Now the assaults are getting rained on. They have no cover over there, so they have to push like across the map. They have to send their lights. But what do they send their lights at? Because Oops is completely cleared out, and they're just sitting in Fox 4 with the bulk of their mechs, except for Bowser, who's just sitting over here basically as bait. Like, he just, if you go for him, then you just get lermed on and have a whole light pack that can defend. I mean, that was just a super, like, that is the insane EMP counter strat that, like, the big brains of Stimrog, Bowser, I'm sure Jay-Z, I mean, they have a very capable team over there, have thought up. Yeah, just excellent.
Like, that's the sort of thing you would expect to see, like the likes of PHL back around like 2 years ago pulling.
What's
Yeah.
the time left on the timer?
It's only been a minute so far.
Oh.
Yeah, minute or two.
Okay.
But just yeah, that was stellar. Just very well done. I mean, and this is the thing, like, people always joke about, haha, Lerms in comp, like, taking Lerms is not good. Lerms are very powerful, but it's knowing how to use them. Like, I would say there's, like, a very low point where you can just be the person standing there clicking your mouse to fire Lerms, and then there's a very huge jump to the, like, they fit very specifically into your strategy. They are built around a support system and a strategy that makes sure that they will work, because they are a very, like, high risk, high reward weapon, and just excellently done by Oops. And I mean, RJF, I don't know what they really could have done, and that was very well exploited by Oops, which is saying, like, if RJF's light pack has to make the move because the assaults are out of vision, if Oops just keeps their whole team in a ball, then they have to fight down men, which is what they took. Like, RJF's assaults there couldn't do anything to help on mining, especially when you have, like, that land-bound ER large annihilator. What's that going to do? So,
absolutely.
Yeah, just basically lost from the mech lab immediately. Wonderful strategy by Oops.
Yeah, and of course, with LRMs and comp, it's like you don't see it often enough, so people don't bring AMS to protect against it. So then you're down to hiding. You're down to sticking to certain terrain. You're out in the open. You're gonna and they have vision on you. You're gonna get punished entirely. So it really changes the pace and the flow of the game. All right, let's look ahead to Rubelite Team 2. Or match 2 rather. What are we going to see here, do you think?
Team 1 RJF. So I think there are very few teams that can pivot a strategy immediately. Certainly the teams that have did that are from days past, like 2016-17, when you were playing for a huge cash prize and a flight to Vancouver. But you got that, nutty, thanks. But looking at RJF here, I'm expecting somewhat similar to what they've done before. But now, I mean, they've got to be absolutely scratching their heads at what Oops is going to do. I mean, we remember last time RJF set up, trading mechs out here. I think they spread out like this way. Honestly, very good play from RJF overall with their assaults moving up. Last time they played Rubelite, and they had their light pack, which dove on Polycat at Theta, and then did this sort of chase wraparound up on top to chase down Polycat and Jay-Z. And they did get the picks first, but then their whole light pack was out in the open. Bowser just clicked on people with the Annihilator. The kills rolled in the favor of Oops, and Oops was able to just overtime clear that match up. It was a bloody win, but they got it done. Now, I don't know if they're just going to repeat their strategy again, and do the same strat because hey, it worked the first time. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But we've now seen Oops do that, a wrap around the top of the map. We've seen them step up with assaults. We know that they can make lerms work, and I can tell you from Blackwatch strategies in this map, there are places you can make lerms work on both sides. So we could see a third option where they do that. We could see something cheeky where they now decide to use Epsilon. It's just a big question mark for RJF, and I think if RJF learned anything from the last match, it's that if they see lerms or if they see some sort of weird strat, they just need to be decisive and just go in and take things out. And the only way they're going to be able to do that is if they take some aggressive assaults. And they've locked in here at Bravo Charlie, so nothing surprising as far as spawns there. But they definitely need to take like things that are quick. And there's not that many assaults really that can do that. And at that point, it becomes kind of rock, paper, scissors. And that's the power of, Oops dropped matches against D5X. I would wager partially because they were just conserving strategies. And the biggest thing with them trying out the weird things there is that now it calls into question, what are they going to do? If you take fast assaults with DACA planning on just NSR straight in the enemy team, you can do that, and that will shut down, the LRM strategy, maybe the laser vomit. But what happens if Oops decides, oh, we're taking all AC2s now? They just out DPS and put you down from range. Or maybe you take stand back assaults and then you get lermed on again. Like, that's the struggle, and that's a lot of times what these maps turn into. Thankfully, I think on Rubelite there's enough RJF can do to mitigate that with proper map movement, but they are going to need to be on the ball with scouting and figuring out exactly who to commit to where if they want to win this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've seen some. We definitely have seen some creative strategies today, especially, but overall throughout the series on Rubelite, like I said, there was the not Dropship 5 assault move that we talked about before the beginning of their matchup versus Oops. One of the things that they did in the previous match, which was very interesting, and it actually won it for them. There was another one where, yeah, like you're talking about AC2 fire. Kind of where people are like posted like here, like way back here.
The
with, like,
Ghost of Nox
ACT
did something like that.
Yeah, where it's like they could sit really far back with AC2s with all the all the range nodes in the skill tree and just be able to plink at range. But then there was, I can't remember which team it was that was able to get a Jaeger mech on Theta. It was like one of the most
that was
things
also Ghost of Nox, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the most beautiful things that I saw. It's like you have this Jaeger mech standing on Theta, and shooting mechs from on all sides and just standing there and not getting looked at really at all.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's like, I mean, there's a lot of options. I don't want to say on this map because most of the options we've discussed are available on every map, and that's what makes the theory crafting so tough at the top. And that's one of the ways that's the con of what RJF has done with their strategy. So as we've seen, they are very, very good at that Wolfpack strategy. I mean, like, again, I think their Frozen City matches are like a textbook of how you execute a deck like that. But again, by just hammering home, we are doing that strategy, it opens up to your opponent knows you're doing that strategy. And if you get against an opponent that is doing something wild, like what Oops has done on the last map, where they strongly theory craft, we know they're going to do this. How do we counter that? It makes it really tough for you to fight that uphill battle. And that's going to be the problem they're running into. I'm interested to see what they do this time, because again, like, they basically have to figure out what's the strength of our deck, what's the weakness of the enemies, and exploit that immediately. And when you're doing that in a matchup where the enemy has planned to specifically counter you, it's very tough. Just going to ask them if they're ready to go. I mean, the other thing, like we mentioned this on an aside before, but this is how bad in the morning for some of these guys. I mean,
all right,
probably way early morning. I'm sure that's not helping.
Oh yeah,
certainly on the RGF side. I'm sure there's a few people like I mean, what time is it for you now, Di?
It's 6 a.m. It's 9 a.m. for Jay-Z. Oh, sorry, 8 a.m. for Jay-Z, 9 a.m. for Pete.
Yeah, and Jay's been playing for what, like 2 hours now, so
Yeah.
yeah, this is rough for both sides. I'm speeding over to the blue team. That's RJF. I'm seeing looks like quad UAC 5 Black Widow, quad Peep Warhammer 2C, but it's base variant, not the bludgeon, so he can't jump. Highlander 2C with quad Peep again. Looks like a Sleipnir with UAC 5s, and I'll see the other ship when they fly in. I just turn off the scoreboard. Go.
Yeah, don't do that. Well,
and the other ship they've got the Assassin 101, which I believe is MPLs, Wolfhound, Vulcan, and that Osiris with MPLs again.
All right, I'm just gonna quickly fly over here to the red team here. We got a fire starter, linebacker, Warhammer, bludgeon, Vulcan, Marauder 2C, executioner, Vapor Eagle, and Commando. I want to take a look at that fire starter here. Let's take a look here. So it is the 5 Meat Pulse, 3 ER small fire starter. We got the executioner with 3 PPC and 10 ER micros. So certainly getting the at least some trade mechs out there. But you do have some mobile mechs with the linebacker. We can see Jay-Z, Konglord, and Pete Zone are making this kind of weird movement here. Oh, this is a Laser Vomit Vapor Eagle. This is not the normal Vapor Eagle.
Laser Vom Beagle and the Laser Vom Linebacker and Laser Vom Marauder. So they're doing a split of what they did last time. So instead of just sending their whole team around the Kappa side, they're sending a small force, and that force is more than capable of deleting an assault or two up there. But now they've left 2 assaults in the back. So this is like a very, I think, smart upgrade from what they did last time, where now their whole team won't get pinned up there because they have those assaults that can trade. And they have these 2 lights now to handle the bottom of the map here.
Yeah, Oops getting an early cap on Theta, able to back away from the wolf pack from RJF. You can see RJF moving their wolf pack north, but also you have an aggressive presence on Kappa by Oops. So this is going to be an interesting kind of clash that we're going to see here.
RJF is just going to take the fight. Pete's taking a ton of damage out there, and he needs his guys to step up and support him. But this is going to be a nasty 5-on-5, 4-on-4.
4-on-5. This is gonna be a 4-on-5. Pete Zone down at 49%. Slave Labor and the Wolfhound backing up at 72% damage remaining. Meanwhile, you have the Cyclops and the Warhammer Black Widow that's coming in as well. This is gonna be a big fight for Kappa.
But Pete, I believe, is also basically dead in that linebacker. Yeah, he's just escaping. He's orange CT. He's halved, so he's virtually out of the fight. And yeah, this is just gonna be game deciding. So both sides have 2 assaults scrambling to catch up to the fight. But it looks like Oops has lines into that. Yeah, their assaults don't have to move because they have lines in that ramp. Meanwhile, RJFs are having to cross all the way across Delta 5 to get into that fight, and those assaults are not quick. That Highlander 2C is only going like 50-something. It's only going 58.
Yeah, with the Assassin, with Whiteys and the Assassin down, Oops can be a little bit more aggressive here, but they have to hurry because their Warhammer and their Highlander, they're going to show up to the fight here now as well. RJF will be able to push on Oops very, very, very quickly here if they wanted to.
So a strike dropped right on the heads of Bowser and Frio. I think that's protected by the map geometry way above them because only 1 shell landed and it wasn't close. So I wonder if they've planned for that position too to be able to avoid strikes there. RJF full pushing around this corner though. With Jake getting picked off here, and Stimrog also not long for this world. Konglord's going to get picked as well, but Pelmashek and Volkadov are both very beat up.
Pete Zone at 39% is still taking some pot shots here and there. He is still effective. He has some weapons. But RJF doing a really good push against Oops, but didn't come out of that unscathed. But Texan here is in a lot of trouble. He's 2v1 right now and goes down and self-destructs. So he didn't even go down to enemy. He did overheat. Meanwhile,
he looking front also and then pressing himself.
Well, I believe he got picked by Bowser, maybe, or Polycat. I don't know. There's 2 kills for the Wild One side.
Well, Whiteyest went Whitey's went down fairly early, and then the Osiris happened not too long ago. Bowser in the Executioner and Frio in the Bludgeon backing up. They're going to be receiving the RJF push here, and probably not very comfortably. Bowser at 35% in the Executioner, 33% backing up. You can see he is open all over. He still has his 3 PPC, so he has range.
Yeah, Oops has the numbers, but they, I think, also have the percent, or do not have the percent, sorry. RJF has the percent. So, yeah, they really need to like group up and get focus fire, and Frio's going to have to pull a miracle out here in this 2v1.
You see this little light fight, Slave Labor versus Polycat. Slave Labor at 43%. Meanwhile, you have the 2 assaults pushing over into the Bludgeon. Bowser probably waiting for his time to be able to use some fire, and there it go.
I think the end of the plan here, though, might be just if Polycat gets a Slave Labor pick, then GG. It's Caps again. They've had Pete running around in this orange open linebacker, just, you know, jogging his way out to Gamma. Now, Slave Labor manages to get away, but I mean, he is, what, incredibly weak. Yeah, he's open everywhere, orange on basically all of his torsos. I've on that Warhammer's open right torso.
Polycat's open in the left torso. She backs away. You can see.
And yeah, this is about to be a 5 kill.
Yep. And I think that's whether it was planned or whether that was, you know, picked up in the middle of the match, but basically by stringing out the RJF mechs, they had the 2 assaults coming into the fight late, but the meat of what was fighting that fight was RJF's light pack, and as soon as all those mechs get taken out, it doesn't matter that you have an 80% Highlander who see on the board, because you can't chase down these like 40% mechs that are going around and taking your caps.
So Bowser has chased off Slave Labor. Slave Labor did decap.
They might catch Stimrog here in the middle, though. One good shot will take him out.
But Stimrog up against that Warhammer 2C that's pretty open right now. Is actually a stick, goes down.
Yep.
Stone Island
Well
in the that Highlander is very fresh. He's got to get out of there. An 80% Highlander.
I mean, Stimrog basically had to kill that mech to escape, but you know that's just icing on the cake too at this point. One less mech that can go cap.
So Stimrog avoiding Slave Labor. I see Stone Island moving towards Theta to get a cap on that, but Stimrog, I don't know that Stimrog knows that he's there.
No, I think at this point he probably knows, but he's just saying, "Hey, I may as well deny this cap while I'm here." Also,
pretty much
yeah, I mean the game's so over for the caps at this point that he could just be, you know, like it's free real estate, and that's another one that's going to go in favor of Oops.
Well played. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that was well played by Oops in the end. I mean, I think the fight could have definitely gone either way. If you said none of the mechs can leave the center of this match, cage match, but unfortunately they can. And you know, Oops was just able to run away from the fight and cap with their hurt mechs.
Well, I think for me, what defined that was when the engagement didn't go their way, they made a decision decisively and quickly. No, Pete, get out of there, go cap. Just don't worry about anything else, just go cap.
Well, even...
And then when Bowser was pulling back, that strung out those other 2 assaults to going after him and Frio for long enough that they couldn't support anything else.
Looking at the damages, RJF definitely, I think commanding lead there. You know, 500 on 2 mechs, 400 on a couple more, 300 on a couple. Whereas there were the only 2 big damage dealers for the Whoop side were Bowser and that Executioner, and Frio and the Bludgeon, who had those lines.
Do we have a team swap this time?
I think so.
Just double check here.
Nope.
Nope.
Nice. I don't have to swap until drop 4, and then that's the only swap we got to make. The map does need a swap.
Have you already started?
I'll start it now. You already did it. Nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember my timer.
Yeah, drawing on that map, RJF, you know, pushed up this way. Or here, you can do the debrief there, Nutty.
Me?
Rewind, or are you working on something right now? I don't know. I feel like I've been talking for like the past 10 minutes.
So okay, so let's talk about what happened on I think on the oops side, because that one I think is a little bit. I think this really guided the way the match really ended up, right? So you have the oops, the main body of the oops folks. You had 5 mechs that committed to Kappa, and then you had a couple of tradie mechs that were able to do some shots. Now, early on, those mechs were up here really more towards Echo 7, so they were kind of up here and able to trade all over the map. Meanwhile, on the RJF side, they committed a 4 mech light pack, which they started here at Theta. They bounced to Theta, then they went up to there. But the thing is though, is that Polycat and I think it was Stimrog were able to get the early cap on Theta with JZ and then rotate back to go and support their team. So you kind of had this clash and then this reposition where everybody went north to fight over Kappa. Now the difference is that with RJF standoff mechs were kind of in this area. They weren't able to do anything against Oops. Because Oops they were all set up down here, so they had 5 mechs kind of in this area. Plus, they had the 2 standoff mechs up here in Echo 7 that had sight lines down into Delta 6. And from that, they were able to combat or at least kind of slow down the push from RJF into them. Pete Zone, though, and that linebacker taking very early damage down to 39%, but survived for the whole map? Yeah, survived the entire match at 39%. So they did that cap on Kappa. They had a lot of trade. They did a lot of trade. Meanwhile, you have RJF rushing to get their trade mechs up with the rest of it. You had basically a kind of a cutting the pie moment, kind of right on this. I'll draw this in green here. On this kind of green line, you had this cut the pie stuff with RJF kind of wrapping around this way, and Oops kind of being stuck down in this area, which is a little bit of a kill box. But because of these mechs up here, those mechs up there really slowed it down and let people get out. And then it was just a kind of a little pocket battle here and there. I'll admit, for me, it was starting to get a little bit hard to follow at that point, just because of everyone going everywhere. 2-minute warning, thank you. So yeah, what was the rest of it? One last.
I mean, after that was basically it. I mean, once the mechs got to here, I would say that basically at the point that RJF pushed into Delta 6, that match was basically over. And the caps are probably only at a good, I don't know, 430 or something to 170, let's say. But fundamentally, that was it. RJF had lost at that point because they just didn't have the time or the mechs to go cap. And I think if you look at points of failure where RJF could have done better with the deck, I think the fact that they let Pete get back to Charlie 6 here and they didn't send their lights down there, that was one of the critical moments that cost them. The fact that they fought for a while in that green circle, which hopped into Bowser's cockpit, and it's not like that whole ramp is visible. Like, there are parts that get cut off by crystals. You obviously can't see down at the bottom that easily. I mean, I guess he can step up to see the bottom, but there are areas there that are covered, and RJF didn't, I would say, exploit those as much as they needed to in that fight. Like, if they had been in cover more of that fight, because I mean, you saw how much damage Rio and Bowser were able to put out there. I mean, RJF had the handy damage advantage, but the huge amount of damage from the Oops side was just done by those 2 Overwatch mechs. So had they not been able to get in shots, I think that would have gone significantly more to RJF's favor. They would have lost less mechs, and at that point, they would have been able to spread out. But, basically, by the time that fight cleared up, they had just spent too much blood. It's the same sort of principle for anybody who has ever done, like, light 1v1s or something like that. Or why more so why people say don't do light 1v1s competitively. Yeah. Usually. It's because even if you win the fight, don't fight a fair fight, because if you fight a fair fight, 5 minutes is up. If the other person isn't bad, if unless you're significantly better than them, you're going to come out of that with like a bloody mech. Like, in a lot of cases, especially in those light fights, your light would be legged, and then boom, you're basically useless for the rest of the match. And that was the thing that happened with RJF. they paid dearly to win that fight, and at the end of the day, it just wasn't worth it because the mechs, they won in armor but not in mechs remaining. Like, that was the important part. They came out of that fight with 3 mechs that were probably, I think, at 80% or above, and Oops came out with 1 or 2, but Oops had more mechs standing, and then they just said, okay, peace, and just ran away. And that's all they needed to do.
Absolutely. All right, this brings us to Hibernal Rift. This is going to be interesting because you saw Oops in the last match, last matchup against Not Dropship 5, basically taking a page out of RJF's playbook. And demonstrating that they can do it. However, that was the drop they lost.
Yeah.
So we did see Oops do this last time, but now they're on team 2. So now they're on the standoff side. So are we going to see a traditional standoff setup, or is it going to be something a little bit more aggressive? We can see that team 1 is locked in, RJF is locked in, heavy Charlie. With 2 in Bravo, 2 in Alpha.
And then it looks like Oops is going to lock right into Bravo Charlie. So just to answer your first question, are they going to do standoff? No way. There is no way that the Oops team is going to sit back and say, yeah, we'll just receive this push. I mean, with seeing how they've tweaked their strategies and stuff here, I mean, look, they've gone completely Bravo Charlie, and that looks like their light pack and Bravo assaults and heavy stuff up in Charlie. So I think they are just going to take the fight to RGF, and they want to just end this 3-0 right now.
Well, if nothing else, it sends a very decisive statement to JGX for the final of, hey guys, see how we've adapted our strats, changed things. What are we going to bring against you?
Yeah, Oops is showing that they're very they're absolutely demonstrating that they are not predictable. And even RJF is to a certain degree. Like, we're not seeing the huge kind of heavy push 5 mechs that we used to see. It's now a little bit more kind of a more conservative 4 mech wolf pack and kind of 1 changeable mech.
Well, I mean, it's good because I don't normally associate Blitzkrieg with Russians. It's more Germans.
Trying to see what these mechs have. I'm on the Oops side here. Looks like MPL Vulcan. Yeah, they got that almost same wolf pack with the Wolfhound, Phoenix Hawk, Vulcan, Firestarter. Trying to check what this Executioner has. It is different. It's a Laser Bomb Executioner this time, but they have a Laser Bomb Linebacker, Laser Bomb Marauder 2C, and a PVC Bludgeon to follow that up.
All right, looking over on there we go. Looking over on the RJF side, you got a Mauler, MX-90, an Assassin 101, Annihilator 1P, Urban Mech, Vapor Eagle, Wolfhound, Cyclops, and a Vulcan.
They have Slave Labor going out very wide for an initial cap, and that gives him a lot of power here for what he can see and confirm is not or is happening. So I think he's looked down the trenches now and confirmed nothing's heading this way. But, Oops is already steaming down towards the cap, and they just want to take the fight to this Annihilator. And I was going to say this at the start. I think what their plan is here with the Laser Bomb is they're just going to come around this corner and absolutely destroy RGF's assault. And if they can do that, they still have a decent, 4 mech light pack that can hold all right against RGF's pack. And right now, I think they're doing okay on trades, but they're in a bad position here to be shooting up against RGF.
Yeah, it's kind of uncomfortable being down at the dropship and shooting. You see Bowser and the Executioner standing tall, firing towards Theta. You've got the UAC Mauler and the UAC Cyclops peeking around the Epsilon side. The Annihilator is off on the Epsilon side as well there. Had a strike thrown at him, but I don't think it actually found any purchase. Or maybe it did. I'm seeing the Annihilator 1P at 70% damage right now.
Oh, he took a lot of damage in that corner, too. I mean, looking into his mech here, he's almost open CT. He is open. Left torso now is open. Can't speak.
Oh, a big strike dodge by Pete Zone and Polycat. They just dodged that airstrike. Good on them. Frio in the Warhammer Bludgeon, 81%. JZ at 79. The Oops is repositioning. Looks like RJF is doing an aggressive push right now.
They're going for the throat. And Konglord's going to get caught out here by the assaults. I don't know if his team has lines to cover him, and I think he's just eating a lot of damage. His left torso is open, right torso is almost open. He is, I think, halved now by the Annihilator.
Yeah, Assassin 101 is down at 59%, or not 59%, 61%. The Cyclops is up near 52%, it's not doing too well. JZ goes down.
Yeah, picked right up in the center of the RJF team, and now their light pack's getting in here, and they're going to be diving all over these mechs, which are going to be heat capped.
Yeah, absolutely. Oops needs to pick a side here. They're taking a push from both sides, and they're trying to combat both sides. They need to figure out which way they're going to go and take some mechs down.
Stimrog's in super deep, and I think I can't believe he didn't just get legged there. He's got to be really close to it.
So the Mauler goes down, which leaves only the Annihilator as their only assault.
Stimrog is one click, but the Annihilator's in a fantastic position right now for RGF. I mean, Bowser's trying to keep his head down, but if they don't watch him, he's just going to tear the lights apart for Oops, which is already happening anyway. I mean, Stimrog's legs are one click, if you can't tell. The Assassin is one click right torso for RJF. Polycat
think
just
Stimrog
missed
got
with a
leg.
shot to take him out.
There you go.
Pizza
Now we're going
gets
to take
taken out
down
in the
Pizza.
back, and yes, Stimrog is legged, so this is looking really tough for Oops right now. Basically, they've got Bowser who's got a strike right on his head, who just needs to pull a ton of weight at the end here, and that's going to be a big ask.
You can see the Wolf Pack is trying to find purchase, and they found it by taking out Kong Lord. Slave Labor goes down in return, and then Stimrog goes down.
So the Assassin that's up for RGF is one click in the side torso, and the Wolfhound is open right torso. So if there's a couple good burns from the assaults for Oops, this could even up really quickly. But Dubix is very fresh in that Irby, and that is not good for them.
Yeah, you got Polycat and a 50% Wolfhound going up against the Vapor Eagle. The Vapor Eagle is probably heat capped. Never mind.
White Eyes went for the final alpha to just try and take Polycat out, and he has extremely weakened that Wolfhound. But is that trade? Trade for the Assassin and the Wolfhound with lasers, hit scan.
They both go down, and the Wolfhound for RJF retreats back. You got Frio and Bowser are the two mechs left from Oops. This is going to be probably Oops' first loss
Bowser
here,
gets
potentially.
Picks off the Wolfhound, and now it's a 2-on-2, is it? I think so. I have a bunch of dead mech bugs, but it's basically Dubix versus the last two.
It's Dubix and the
Frio's
Annihilator
one click,
versus
but...
and Frio goes down from the Annihilator. That leaves
That's
Bowser.
a great shot too. So Bowser is gonna have Annihilator's one click. By the way, Iva is like red CT with one ear large and managed to help Dubix get that pick. But yeah, I mean that Annihilator does have a weapon though, and Bowser's leg is one click. So all right, he does pick off the Annihilator, but now it's just oof. All right, Dubix is pulling off. This is gonna be what an exciting end. This is gonna be really close.
So here's the thing now, is that you have the slow Executioner up against a more mobile Canine. That Canine is certainly a lot fresher. Bowser can certainly take him from a damage perspective, but absolutely lost from mobility. So
you see, Bowser's already making a tight cross on the map. So he's confirmed that Dubix is on the left side of the cap. So I think he's expecting him to run to Kappa, but now he stepped off the cap. So, and he hasn't seen Dubix come towards him, so he's got to know, hey, Dubix is behind that hill over there. And you see him just keeping his eyes out, because if Dubix scrapes that leg and legs Bowser, I'm pretty sure that's game right there. Now, Dubix's leg is hurt as well, though. His left leg is also open orange, so if they both leg each other, then it's just going to tick as the caps lie. So the next shot is whoever gets the first shot here is basically going to clinch the game for their team. This is a nail biter to be in a position for either of these guys.
Oh, absolutely. Dubix is closing in on the Kappa cap, hoping to flip some cap points in his team's favor. Right now, Oops does have the 3 cap, and they have they do have the cap advantage right now, not only just on caps but cap points.
Yeah. And they'll keep having it if they just keep trading. I mean, the Executioner is slower, but he can still sprint at 84 kph, which isn't bad. So Dubix really needs to make the play to leg this Executioner before he goes around the map, and he might get the shot here. I don't know if Bowser knows where he is. Oh, he just...
Bowser's looking the other way.
And Dubix is just basically like 10 degrees too far to his left. Now, he has seen Bowser now, but Bowser has not seen him.
Yeah.
So,
here we go. Yeah, this is
Mech
Warrior Online.
There.
This is Mech Warrior Online Marco Polo edition.
So I don't think they actually knew Bowser's leg was that hurt. Or maybe they did, and he just... I don't know, because he turned around to go to Sig, but has turned around since he got lock on that leg, and is looking for Bowser now.
Yeah, Bowser at least is... he is scanning. He's looking to the left.
Needs to hit that.
He's looking up, and he
he got the right leg. There it is. Bowser needs to sprint up now, and he's already W keying full.
Yep.
But mask doesn't do anything if you're lagged. Wow. So his mask is also basically useless. Like he's just walking at 35 kph, but he might be able to get a shot on Dubix here if he can get EGI to let him up this hill.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, but now Dubix is in the trench, and his only way up is going to be to go through Bowser's line of fire, so he might get that leg back off in a trade.
Yeah, leg
Bowser
down.
overrides to get it, and there it is. That's GG. Wow. And now he's very nice shots on the butt of the Irby there, going for that pick. And he overrides deeply
Wow.
to get that. What a game.
What a game. What
man. That was
what?
stellar. That was a fantastic game. Like, I know that the one was exceptionally close that happened with D5X earlier, but I mean, this too, what a treat for the matches today.
Yeah, and it shows in the damage number.
You can tell we're getting to the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah. It tells in the damage numbers. Look at that. Bowser, 929 damage, 4 kills, 4 assists. Bowser touched everybody in one way or another. Like the rest of the damage is kind of in like the 200 to 300s for Oops.
For both sides.
But yeah, Bowser really showing his skill with 920.
I mean, just
damage.
he had a golden position for that match. That was very good movement on his part, but also just like consequence of just what happened. I mean, he ended up being in the perfect position, and RJF had to pick something to focus down, and it was always one of Bowser's buddies. And you know what? He did exactly what he needed to with that, which is to just play tightly, take good trades, take good shots, basically just use his team as pug armor towards the end. And I mean, man, it worked out.
77.41 panic buttons.
Sorry, what was that, Tadachi?
77.416 panic buttons.
There we go. There's another panic button reference. So wow, with that, Oops wins over RJF 3 drops to 0.
That means
RGF.
RGF.
Do we want to look at the map strat for this? That was
sure.
That was chaotic.
Whew. I don't know. Like, that was just really well played. Like, I think the only, if there was anything the teams could have done better, it was in their initial movements. But basically, once the fighting started, it was just, there were some mechs that, again, got overextended. I think Simrog dove into the Theta Trench at one point and just ate a ton of free damage for that. That was when his legs got shredded. Jay got picked way, too up high and just in the center of RGF's team. But, well played on RGF's part, and also just very well played on Oops. I think the only thing that could have gone differently at the end there was if Dubix had gone for that leg pick earlier, or maybe picked a better route, but even then it would have been very close.
Mm-hmm.
But just looking at
that leaves with D5X in 4th place, RJF in 3rd place, and then between JGX and Oops It's a Wild Ones for 1st and 2nd.
Yep.
This is gonna be an exciting matchup next weekend. But yeah, this was good. Like the matchups today were they felt very different. The teams were absolutely were certainly on their game. There were more creative strats, more interesting. But the fact that we saw LRMs on 2 different drops, or 3, was it 2 or 3? I thought it was 2. Pretty sure it's 2. One against Oops LRMs, once against not Dropship 5, and that was on Hibernal with that clutch dodge by Kondo against Terragato. And then once against RJF on Mining Collective with 2 very, very heavy, very large LRM mechs, again from the Oops side, which was really cool to see. But looking at the map strat for Hibernal, they can see one last is starting to draw things out here.
Yeah, I've scribbled in roughly where RJF was. I'm trying to remember. Oops, I think they had Frio out like there, and I think they were set up like this roughly.
Yeah, and they were intending to go this way, but their light pack kind of ended up down here.
Yeah, that's better.
And firing up at the mobile pack for RJF. That's a very uncomfortable position to be in, but at least they do have a lot of backup from their larger mechs. And in fact, Bowser did turn to face them and start to kind of whittle down those center mechs. Meanwhile, you had the rest of them trying to do that kind of push, but RJF instead did to them what they were planning to do. I think is that they pushed straight into them, which then moved them back
Actually, they were
into
all over with these lights.
Oh yeah, like it was they kind of brought them back into this box, and there was a moment there where I was a little worried because it was almost like Oops didn't know which way to go.
Oh yeah.
Right? There was like they were thinking about going this way, they were thinking about going this way, they were kind of dancing around back and forth, and I think they lost at least one of their mech losses was because of that indecision. And then it just kind of was a battle of attrition from there to the point where you had Bowser at the very end, kind of, Bowser was here. You had a very, very damaged Annihilator here, and you had a very fresh Urban Mech there. Bowser takes
Fresh,
down
but
the.
I think I don't know if it was Frio. I'm guessing it was based on just the damage. Maybe it was a light that got burned, but Dubix's leg had been red armored right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that was. If you want to talk about another like deciding point in the match, it was the fact that RJF went this way with their lights to kill the Warhammer instead of going out here to kill Bowser. Because I think Frio at that point had backed all the way to like that green X, and he was one shot CT. So there was nothing he could do to really shield that, and he was just completely backing off. And he and Bowser were totally separated, and that's what I mean. Where it was almost a 50-50. I think Frio ended up looping into here and trying to come out towards Bowser, but had they gone for Bowser at that point and nixed him, it would have been a Warhammer 2C trying to run around with PPCs at the end rather than a Executioner.
Yeah.
And that would have probably, that would have been a lot more tough for Oops to pick up, because it would have been harder for him to scrape that leg with quad peep on an Irby.
Oh, big time.
He'd been able to just get Pop-Tarted to death. So that honestly might have ended up being the deciding factor, that they went out that way rather than towards Bowser. But just, wow. That was just chaos. Like you said, I think RJF got, the first two matches, they kind of got shoved out of their comfort zone, but in that one, they were able to finally, make the push in with their whole team. They had the hammer and anvil with the lights coming in, the assaults pushing the other side. They were able to, pick down, we want this mech dead, we want this mech dead, apply that focus fire, and it basically rattled the Oops mechs. Not to say that, the pilots there are freaking out, but, it was clear that everybody was fighting their own battle at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But just came down to, again, a game of inches.
Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that match out of the way, we do have our final decider before the grand finals. Next weekend, Oops, It's the Wild Ones will go and face what is probably the most difficult team in MWOCS this season, which is JGX,
Definitely.
First Jaguar Guards. I don't think JGX has lost even a drop.
So this is literally, if Oops beat JGX in the first set of drops, JGX gets to do a comeback.
Yeah. It's a very steep uphill battle. JGX hasn't dropped a match, and CompQ hasn't dropped a single drop in any of these series that they've done so far. It's just been 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, or I guess it was 2-0s at the beginning. So it'll be interesting to see what Oops does. I think the other thing is that, I don't think we've seen as much outside the box plays like we've seen here from Oops, from JGX, but at the same time, I wouldn't call them a very predictable team per se. They like to bring a lot of different mechs and ranges. That's going to make the counter striding tough.
Exactly, and this is where it's they're certainly JGX, I think, is probably going to feel the pressure just a little bit more from a team like Oops, because they know the players that they're up against. It is a certainly a team that has a lot of very, very good players on it. Certainly on JGX. Obviously on JGX as well. But this will be a fun matchup, and so we don't know exactly when that will happen quite yet, but that will be next weekend. It'll be hosted by myself and Just Call Me Ash, and also Tadachi. I imagine you're probably going to be hanging out with us as well.
I'll be around.
As per usual. Or you might want to finally get some sleep.
What sleep?
What sleep?
You know,
What's that?
you had to swear that off for the tourney.
Exactly. All right, everybody. I think that is going to be it for
But
us.
the grand final will be the 12th of December, so it will be next weekend.
Yeah. Next weekend, 12th of December.
Next Saturday. Yeah.
Next Saturday, a week from today. So make sure that you keep an eye on MWO Comp, the MWO Comp Twitter, on the MWO Comp Discord, and other communication avenues to find out when that actual timing happens. I'm sure it'll get tweeted out as soon as the timing has been determined. We don't know when that will be yet. I mean, it's typically been like Tuesday, Wednesday by the time we find out, depending on the teams. So we'll see what we can do. But with that, folks, that is it for us. Thank you again for joining us for the MechWarrior Online Championship Series lower bracket finals. And we'll catch you next weekend. My name is Nutty Rat.
I'm One Last Bite.
And I'm Dadachi.
And thanks again, folks.
So
Have
excited.
a wonderful night. And we'll see you next weekend, Mech Warriors.